It's 3-0 Green Bay, 3-0 Minnesota, and that spells excitement. It's exciting here in Minneapolis. This has been the lead story on the evening news. And we've got a sellout crowd, 25% of which could be Green Bay Packer fans. Strange things seem to happen in games between these two teams here at the Metrodome. Last year, Brett Favre went down with an ankle injury. His backup Ty Detmer was injured. So late in the game, third-string emergency quarterback T.J. Rubley was in. He audibled, and through this interception, which led to the Vikings game-winning field goal. 3 years ago, Jim McMahon, who's now with the Packers, was the Vikings quarterback, threw a Hail Mary. There was a defensive breakdown. It was complete, and the Vikings went on to win that game by a field goal. They've won the last 3 games by a total of 8 points. Coach Mike Holmgren of the Packers wanted to change things up. He changed practice times. He changed the hotel that the team stayed in. For Minnesota, Warren Moon's ankle is getting better. He threw away one of his orthotics.
Packers could hold them, take the ball, go down and score. We'll keep this crowd under control.
So for the Minnesota Vikings, the kickoff will come from the 30-yard line. And back to do the kicking is going to be Mitch Berger, who'll kick it for the Minnesota Vikings. He's normally their punter. As you know, the Packers kicker is Craig Hentrick, who is their punter as well. Chris Jackie is the field goal kicker, so it's Scott Sissons for Minnesota. Here's the kick, right to left by Berger. This is a high floater that will be taken down around the 5-yard line by Don Beebe. Beebe back to the 20 and got hit right at the 20 and drilled. Nice defensive play by the Minnesota Vikings. He is drilled by Sean Van Horst right at the 20-yard line, and I think that tells you a lot about Minnesota. They are very strong in a lot of areas, especially with the special teams.
Especially when you get there untouched. Whoever was after Van Horst didn't lay a hand on him, and therefore he had a straight shot at Beebe.
James did not get it in any way, shape, or form there.
Packers has not thrown a touchdown pass here. Fake rolling to the right, and the ball slipped upfield to William Henderson to the 35, on his feet to the 40 and down to the 42-yard line. A little rollout to the right by Brett Favre. He threw it into a very small opening, and Henderson just bowled over one man to the 42-yard line.
You know, he had a couple of other guys he could have thrown it to, but I looked at Larry laughed, and that Henderson ran over a guy like he wasn't even there.
He said hello to Jeff Brady, a former Packer. William Henderson is something special when he gets the ball in his hands.
Jeff Brady is an undersized middle linebacker, too. So it is going to be at the 42-yard line, first down out of an I formation for the Packers. The defensive unit of the Minnesota Vikings asking for a little quiet. Here's the handoff straight up the middle. Edgar Bennett, 45 to the 47, and a gain of about 5 yards. Ridden down by the defensive secondary, and the man who made the tackle is Corey Fuller, the left cornerback, who is a big kid himself at 6'2", 212 pounds. He is a big left corner.
Yes, he is. But I'll tell you what, the Packers talk about stone in the hole. That time they put Demur in motion, led him up through there, led William Henderson up through there. Nice little game for him.
The linebackers, Darryl Talley, Jeff Brady, and Dixon Edwards for the Minnesota Vikings. Now the Packers will send Shemur to the right, split into a pro set on a 2nd down and 5 from the 47-yard line in their own territory. Brett Favre 1 for 1 so far in the ballgame. Here's Brett, straight back, short drop, quick pattern to the outside, and overshot. You know what he did? He stumbled as he came out from under center. He tried to plant Max on the right foot, and the right foot gave a little bit on him, and he wasn't able to throw the ball rightly.
Yeah, he's testing his ankle there, Jim, but you're right. He overthrew the ball mostly because he never got set.
And also, we have seen when Brett's excited early in games, he's generally high if he's overly excited.
So it's going to be 3rd down and 5 in the first big 3rd down play here early in the ball game. 13 minutes, 28 seconds to go. Both teams with records of 3 wins and no losses. Robert Brooks will split out wide to the left side. You got a slot on the right. Brooks is in motion now to the right, and he may, in fact, no, he's going to line up in the backfield. Brooks will line up in the backfield and go in motion to the outside. Here is Favre up over the middle, almost intercepted. Shemur was right there, but he did not see Harlan Barnett, who came along. I don't think Shemur had looked up when the ball arrived.
Well, I think everybody in the stadium knew where they were going to, including Brett looking right at him, but not a good 3rd down play.
Arlen Barnett, who comes in on passing downs, Larry, was right in the right spot, and that could have been a disastrous play.
And we saw a little bit of what the Vikings are all about right there, getting their hands on ball, batting it around, and a lot of cases, 10 times or so this year, they've turned it over in situations.
Brad threw that ball too soon, really. Chimera had not had time to look. Brad a little nervous.
Hedrick with the kick, a high floater, and this is David Palmer all the way back to the 8-yard line, lets it bounce. Packers are trying to get there, but it goes into the end zone and will be brought out to the 20-yard line. So the Vikings have stopped the Packers in their first series and will take over, and we'll take a break. No score in the ball game. Back after this on the Packer Radio Network.
Hey, Packer fans, it's that time of year again.
Primarily a one-back offense. Warren Moon is the quarterback. Robert Smith from Ohio State, now in his fourth year, is the running back. He's carried 70 times for 284 yards and an average of 4.1 per ball game. The wide receivers are Jake Reed, and he's a big wide receiver at 6'3". Chris Carter is 6'3", not quite as big as Jake Reed, however.
Critical that the Packer defensive backs tackle well when they do complete passes to those guys.
Carter and Reed both come off to the left side on the first down. The single running back is Robert Smith. Andrew Jordan is the tight end for Minnesota. They have two tight ends in on the first play. Handoff to Smith, trying to get to the outside. He is spun down, and George Kuntz has him tackled back at about the 11-yard line. George Kuntz with great penetration gets there and spins him around.
Wayne Simmons as well getting that early penetration. The Packers lining up what they call their stacked defense, and they like to use that with the three linebackers inside against cutback runners like Robert Smith.
They're going to rule out a 7-yard loss.
I'll tell you, that's a good start for the Packer defense. Robert Smith, believe me, you'll see more of him. He is a great runner.
You don't want him to get in a position where he can cut back against you. When he does that, then he makes a lot of yardage. Second down, 17.
Packers going right to their dime.
And a man in motion to the near side is the tight end. Here's Warren Moon, and the handoff goes to Robert Smith. He's caught in the hole and spun down by Sean Jones, who grabbed him around the ankles and brought him down. The Packers defensively have Sean Jones and Reggie White at the defensive ends, and they have Gilbert Brown at the defensive tackle, the nose tackle for them in that dime package.
Leroy Butler also getting real quick penetration on that play.
Third down.
Tells you a little bit about the philosophy of this game, too, Jim. They didn't attempt to throw the ball on second and like 17, so they may be a little conservative.
Well, they're going to make sure that they don't make any mistakes. Neither team wants to get behind early in the ball game. Third down and 15. The Packers very aggressive. Here is Moon back to throw for the first time. He fires the ball upfield, and it bounces and is intercepted. Picked off by Eugene Robinson to the 30, the 25, the 20, to the right side to the 15, and threw a man and down to about the 12-yard line. Eugene Robinson on a deflection off the chest of the intended receiver, and the Packers have a big turnover.
Oh, what a turnover it is, Jim. That's been the history this year. A lot of turnovers and put them in great field position here. What an opportunity for the Packers.
Moon hitting Quadre Ismail right in the numbers. Wasn't ready for the ball.
That is the 10th interception already for the Packers. Another pick and save Packers pickoff play, and that means another $100 contribution to the MAC Fund from pick and save. And a first down at the 11-yard line of the Minnesota Vikings. You know what? I'm not sure, but what? He was not touched when he was down. Eugene Robinson caught the ball, fell to the ground, and he was in contact with the defender of the Minnesota Vikings on the ground.
Don't tell anybody.
I won't.
There's a tip drill at his best.
First down at the 11-yard line. Man in motion to the right for Brett Favre. Here's Favre. Oh, a delayed action. I think there are some whistles. Favre looking for somebody to pass to, throw short to Chimera. That play was really off-kilter from the very beginning. It appeared that Brett pulled out a little too early under center, and it appeared that the right defensive end may have jumped for Minnesota.
And it also appeared Gary Brown got beat by Derek Alexander.
I think Alexander, whoever that was a little bit quick on the snap. As you can see on the replay, Brown didn't have a chance.
Brett did a great job of getting away and actually saving a loss on the play. It'll be second down at the 11. Both of these clubs are just flat coming at each other.
This is Central Division at its best.
It'll be second down and 10 at the 11-yard line of the Minnesota Vikings. Split the two running backs. In motion to the outside goes Robert Brooks. Back to throw Brett Favre. A screen to the right. Edgar Bennett caught at the 15. And a great defensive play by the Minnesota Vikings over there to make the play for Minnesota. It was number 59. I don't even have
Dixon Edwards.
Is it Dixon Edwards? Okay, Edwards is 59, not 58. Dixon Edwards, who played well earlier on a play. That time, that screen smelled out and threw them for a loss back to about the 15-yard line. They're going to mark it at the 14 as the official progress.
something about Edwards. Why did he get there so quickly? On that type of play, he has that back and pass coverage, so he's following him all the way out there. But a blocker...
Here's Brett Favre on third down. Straight back in the pocket. Looks, going to a fade into the corner. Brooks, touchdown. Robert Brooks on an absolutely gorgeous throw by Brett Favre. A fade pattern to the left corner. He beat his man by a step, and the ball arrived perfectly, and the Minnesota Vikings trail the Packers early.
I'll tell you, Brett Favre is a happy guy, too. He throws the most perfect pass you could throw. Brooks ran a perfect fade pattern right in the end zone. Touchdown.
It's interesting this week, the Viking defensive backs, a couple of them said, well, the receivers are nothing special. It's all Brett. Hey, that time Robert Brooks beat Corey Fuller one-on-one.
Right off the line of scrimmage, he had the step, didn't he?
Absolutely.
14 yards officially on the play for the touchdown. 11 yards for the touchdown in 3 plays for the Packers. Here's Chris Jackie with the extra point, and the kick is on the way. The kick is good. The Packers have taken the lead by a score of 7-0. Back after this word from your local station on the Packer Radio Network.
No one knows your GM vehicle better than the folks at Arrowhead Pontiac Buick.
We believe, Jim, the rest of the jinx is going to be gone about 3 hours from now. The Packers are just a better football team this year than they have been the previous 4. All right, the kickoff will come from Craig Hentrich.
And back deep will be Ishmael and Ampli. Here is the kick, and Ishmael waits at the 5-yard line. He has it back to the 10, to the 15, to the outside. Looking for a little running room, and he's brought down at about the 27-yard line, but there is a flag thrown on the play as well. Let's see what the flag is all about. It is an indication, I think, of a holding call, but we'll wait for the official, Ed Hercule, to call it. It is holding against the Minnesota Vikings. You saw a block again?
Well, no, Corey Dowden is just fearless on this thing. He throws his body around fearlessly.
Today's game sponsored by Mills Fleet Farm, proudly serving America's heartland since 1955. Mills Fleet Farm is an official broadcast sponsor of the Packer Radio Network. So it'll be a first down for the Minnesota Vikings, but it'll cost them yardage. And they will move it from the 27-yard line back to the 17-yard line. So
Colorado will start inside its own 20-yard line, 7-0 in favor of the Packers. And we have 10 minutes and 36 seconds to go here in the first quarter of the game. And there is a pattern here, Max, that we've seen. You make a turnover, and the Packers will make a touchdown off of that turnover. And that's been the history this year. Let's hope it keeps up, because turnovers are big. And in motion to the outside for the Minnesota Vikings. Here's the handoff. Robert Smith looking for a little hole. Does find one across the 20 out to about the 22-yard line. Robert Smith for a gain of about 5 yards on the play. By the way, that was Eugene Robinson's first ever interception as a member of the Green Bay Packers. Robert Smith, averaging 4.1 yards a carry, has 1 touchdown. He has also caught 3 passes this season, and he bulks up a little bit, went 10 pounds heavier. You don't think of him as a big kid. I never did, but he's 6'2", 212. That's pretty big. You don't think of him as big because he's so quick. Right. He's a tough runner. Second down and about 5 yards to go for Minnesota. They'll split Jake Reed out wide to the left. Chris Carter is a slot on the left side on the second down play. Warren Moon straight back in the pocket. Gets a little pressure. Comes up over the middle. It's broken up. Nicely done. It was intended for Reed. And out there to make the play is Doug Evans for the Packers to knock it down at about the 35-yard line. They both arrived at the same spot as the football at the same time. Perfect coverage, Jim. You can't do it any better than that. And I really believe for Moon to be successful, they're going to have to run the football, because I don't think he can carry him throwing the ball. I think he'll get too much pressure from this defensive group of the Packers. The Carolina Panthers have scored early against the 49ers and taken a 7-0 lead in that ball game. Ampli comes into the backfield, a 2-man backfield for Minnesota now. Now Lee will split out wide to the right side and be covered out here by Tyrone Williams. Here's the third down play by Warren Moon. Quick pattern over the middle, broken up again. Perfectly played by Doug Evans one more time to get a handout in front of Jake Reed. Moon tried to hit him with a very quick pattern, and Evans was equal to the task. They have covered every pass play perfectly. Nobody's been open. Now, the thing about the Viking receivers, they're not particularly, besides Ishmael, speedy, but they are big, and Doug Evans matching fire with fire as far as being aggressive and taking on the bigger guys. Desmond Howard is the return man. He returned one for a touchdown last week for the Packers. Mitch Berger will do the kicking for the Minnesota Vikings. He stands back at about his 7-yard line. The line of scrimmage is the 22. Gets a good snap from center, and here's Berger's kick. This is a returnable low-line drive. At the 43, Howard gets away from one man and only gets to the 48. Give credit to the Minnesota Vikings. Down quickly to cover the play for the Vikings and to break it up is Charles Evans. And the Packers will take over at the 47. We'll get a timeout. Back after this on the Packer Radio Network.
Quality performance around the world. That's why you can expect nothing less from your Trane heating and cooling dealer. 110% for over 110 years. It's hard to stop a Trane.
Get details on a free 10-year parts and labor warranty. See Myers Heating and Air Conditioning in Rice Lake. Designed, tested, and manufactured to last. It's hard to stop a Trane.
7-0. Man in motion to the right is Keith Jackson. Back on a delay. Here comes Edgar Bennett to the 50, to the 47-yard line of the Minnesota Vikings. Little delay with Keith Jackson in motion to the right. They went right up the middle on the delay. Good blocking up front.
Yeah, they used some angle blocking there. Adam Timmerman blocking down on the nose. Frankie Winters pulling around on the linebacker. Good job by both men.
Brett Favre has the drive to win, and so does your local Bergstrom dealership. With 21 locations throughout Wisconsin, they have thousands of cars and trucks to choose from. Bergstrom, for the love of driving. Second down, about 6 yards to go. Make it 4 yards to go for the Packers at the 47 of the Minnesota Vikings. Man in motion to the right, nobody in the backfield. A quick pattern to Brooks, intercepted. Picked off Brooks' hands. Down the sidelines for the touchdown for the Minnesota Vikings. Oh, the ball is knocked free and through the end zone. I don't know what will happen. It is a touchback, and it will be, I think, well, let's check and see. The official will tell us what happened. The ball was punched out of the hands of the intended receiver, Robert Griffith, and the ball, listen. The ball was fumbled forward out of the end zone, results in a touchback, first down. So the Packers get the ball, and what a break.
I tell you what, that's not a break, though. That is a great effort by Robert Brooks. I believe he knocked it away at the end.
Let's watch a replay here, Jim. That was an outstanding. It's an outstanding play by the defender as well, Robert Griffith. Griffith caught the ball, went down the sideline, and Robert Brooks came from behind and punched the ball out of his hands. That is a great individual play. And the Packers get the ball at the 20. That is the second interception by Brett Favre. You know what he tried to do? He tried to get the ball out quickly to Robert Brooks, and that was perfectly played by the Minnesota Vikings.
Yeah, they were running a quick screen. It was designed to be out there right now.
I tell you, if you don't think Brooks is fast, he had to turn around and then catch the guy and still caught him before he got the goal line. Man, I had called it a touchdown because he was out in front and Brooks caught him. First down at the 20. Packers lost about 33 yards on the play, but they have a fresh series of downs. Here is the handoff to Edgar Bennett, caught at the line of scrimmage and drilled at the 18-yard line. And Minnesota's defense is playing very strongly right at the moment. I tell you, that's one of those highlight films that you'll see for the next week. Very unusual play. Great play by Brooks.
Gerald Talley's not a great mover anymore, but he can see things. He can recognize quickly. That time he recognized, got into the backfield. William Henderson had to block him a little before they wanted to, and play goes nowhere. Ezra Tuaolo and John Randall are the tackles. Fernando Smith is the left end, and Derek Alexander the right end. Second down at about 12 for the Packers. Strange ball game developing already here in Minnesota. Brett back to throw. Quick slant pattern. It is caught by Antonio Freeman, and he fumbles it. And it's still loose, and Minnesota has it at the 40-yard line. Second straight turnover. Freeman had the ball out to the 40, lost the ball. Minnesota takes over at the 40-yard line, and it is getting stranger by the minute. They know going in, the Vikings tackle the ball. They grab it. That time forced by Corey Fuller. Recovered by Orlando Thomas, I believe. So Minnesota gets a second break and takes the ball over at the 40-yard line on Antonio Freeman's fumble of the ball, and Minnesota with great field position. Well, if you depend on your car to perform, depend on 76 Gasolines to keep it a performance car. First down, Jake Reed goes left, and Chris Carter goes right for Minnesota. 2 consecutive turnovers by the Packers. One they got away with. Here's the first down play. They came in with a +8 rating as far as takeovers were concerned. And Warren Moon sends Jordan in motion to the right side. He's the tight end. Moon with a quick pattern to the outside. It is caught for only a gain of a couple of yards. And immediately on the play, Leroy Butler knocks down the receiver. That is Jordan, the tight end, and it may be only a gain of 2 yards down to the 38-yard line. That was well smelled out by Leroy Butler as well. Absolutely. And that's all you can do on a play like that. You're going to give up a couple of yards, but if you're on them, get the tackle made. That's all you can do. I'll tell you, defensively, the Packer defensive backs have been better today than I've seen them in years. So we have now 7:37 to go in the first quarter. 7-0 to Packers, but a lot of strange happenings going on.
Man in motion to the near side is the tight end, Jordan. Here's the handoff to Smith. He gives a little ground, gets the corner. 35 to the 30 and spins down to the 27-yard line. And terrific running by Robert Smith, who came around the left side, gave a little ground, got the corner, and then fired it upfield correctly.
That Robert Smith, I think Larry said earlier, you let him get up a little steam, make a couple of cuts. He is tough to put a tackle on, and he showed it right there.
First down, the Minnesota Vikings at the Packer 27-yard line. This is going to be a heck of a game.
Viking tight ends aren't big, but they're tenacious. At that time, Brian DeLong hung on Sean Jones long enough to get Robert Smith around the corner.
A first down. They have a lead blocker for Minnesota in front of Robert Smith on the right side. That blocker is in motion to the near side. That's Jordan, the tight end. Here's the ride and the handoff to Smith. Hit right in the hole and knocked down. Wait a minute. He got knocked down. You got to blow the whistle where he got knocked down because it was Brian Williams who forced him to get knocked down at the 30 or the 29-yard line. Brian Williams stuffed him with the defender who knocked him down at the 29. Let's see where they put the ball. Now you can't put it there.
Yeah, Jim, you missed one thing. He hit his own man. It was never touched for the Packers. No.
But if the defender pushes him in and knocks him down, doesn't that count?
No, absolutely Brian not. Williams just destroyed Charles Evans. Unfortunately, Evans didn't have the ball.
All right, it's going to be a second down and a gain of a yard on the play where it could have been a 3-yard loss. Here's Warren Moon on the second down play. He has a single running back and receivers left and right. Carter is to the left. Moon is back to throw. Moon looking. Now he fires downfield. Jake Reed, touchdown for the Minnesota Vikings. Jake Reed with a down and out pattern perfectly executed by Warren Moon, and Minnesota has come back to tie.
Back there, and Warren Moon threw as good a pass as Favre did earlier, and as you said, he was just too much for the defender down there. This game is going to be tied up. Warren Moon flat out had too much time. You can't let him sit there and be a spectator looking downfield that long.
Second touchdown pass by Moon this season. It goes to Jake Reed, who catches his second touchdown pass, and we have a chance for a tie ball game here. The kick by Fission is up and good. It's 7-all. 6 minutes remaining. Back after this on the Packer Radio Network.
This baby's a NASCAR engine. It's a powerful machine, but it basically works the same as the engine that's in your car. Come on, let's take a look. Up there, you see this row of pistons? They do the same.
With 6 minutes to go here in the first quarter, Target is a proud sponsor of the Packers Radio Network. Be sure to drop off your film at Target's Photo Center for Kodak Premium Processing. Back the next day or they're free 7 days a week. Target, expect more, pay less. 39 yards in 4 plays, and the momentum switched a little bit to the Minnesota Vikings in that series.
And they live and die off the turnover, and if we keep handing them the ball, you know what? We're going to have problems.
You know what? And they overcame the fact that they had a touchdown and lost it, but they came right back to get it. So here is the kickoff by Mitch Berger, and back deep for the Packers on this near side is Don Beebe, waiting for the kick. Antonio Freeman's first fumble. This is a high floater. This is going very deep. And Beebe 2 yards deep is going to come out of there. He's to the 5, to the 10, looking for a hole, slides up through the 20, to the 30, on his feet out to the 35, 36-yard line. But a late flag will bring it back, and the Packers are going to be penalized from about the 22-yard line. It'll be holding against the Green Bay Packers, and the Packers are going to have to play out of a deep hole after things are going a little bit in reverse.
Negates a fine return and a real fine block by Bernardo Harris early on.
So they'll move the ball back to the 11-yard line. I want to take a moment to wish a happy birthday to Marion Rebold, who is celebrating her birthday today. Your kids, Bill, Lisa, Ryan, and Augie, all want us to do that because they said they knew you'd be listening to the Packer game today.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Are you there, buddy?
I'm there. I just got here, however.
I wanted you all along. Ball is going to be placed back at the 12-yard line where the Packers will have a first down. And the Minnesota Vikings now really have some momentum, and the crowd is in it with them, and the Packers are going to have to quiet them down. Arriving late is William Henderson to the huddle for the Green Bay Packers. Ball at the 12-yard line. The Packers had a perfectly run slant pattern on their last series out to the 40-yard line, but the fumble stopped all of that. First down at the 11. Here's Brett Favre. Play action fake. Steps up. A lot of time. Over the middle. Caught by Chimura out to the 23 and a first down.
Chimura right up the middle. Brett Favre with time enough to get rid of the ball, fired a bullet, and Chimura has the first down.
You know what? If we don't turn the ball over this early, it's obvious the Packers can run their stuff and will move the football. I tell you, Chimera, even though he wasn't open, Favre threw that ball by 2 defenders. They didn't have time to get their hands up.
Well, he was running out of time. He got hit as he released the ball by Derek Alexander. So Gary Brown's going to have to hold that guy out. First down at the 23 for Green Bay. Here's Brett Favre straight back in the pocket. Bump. Wants to throw a pattern down the sidelines long to Robert Brooks. Too long. Brooks got held up about the 40-yard line as he tried to get around the defender. The defender met some body on him. That was Corey Fuller, and he couldn't get out to the ball. He was about one step short of getting to the ball.
Well, that's called going for it all, Jim. That was either TD or nothing, and it turned out to be nothing, but fairly good defense. That's what you're supposed to do, is slow that guy up.
Stretched the field a little bit, really more than anything, didn't it?
Yes, it did. It gives him something to think about later on.
Right. Maybe on this replay you can see, didn't see the contact that was made. It'll be a second down and 10 at the 23-yard line. The Packers in their own territory, tied 7-all. Here's Brett Favre, and the handoff. Trying to find the corner is Edgar Bennett. Gets the corner, gets the 30, and drives to the 34-yard line for a first down. Really some good blocking on the corner for Edgar Bennett, and he ran it perfectly behind the blocking.
Mark Chmura, Earl Dotson getting their men really sealed well, so William Henderson could actually take it outside to do the leading on the play.
I'll tell you what, Max, if you can get a first down running the ball from 11 yards, you have done a heck of a job.
Well, they did exactly what you're supposed to do on a sweep, Jim, and that's get that seal to the inside where you got some room to make that cut. And Edgar Bennett, very quick this year, made a great cut.
Freeman goes to the left. Brooks is a slot on the left side. Chmura is the tight end to the right, and the tight end to the left is Keith Jackson. First down from the 34 for the Packers. Here's the handoff up the middle, and Bennett dives for a couple of yards to about the 36-yard line. Brady is on top of the play, but down at the bottom is Fernando Smith for the Minnesota Vikings.
You know, after the handoff, Brett came down the line of scrimmage like he was running an option play. That's one I hope they don't put in.
Quality, great selection, and the lowest overall prices are the reasons you should make Pick and Save your one and only food store. For the best overall value, shop at Pick and Save. When it comes to price, they're still talking low. Second down, 8 yards to go at the 36-yard line. The Packers in their own territory. 3:51 to go here in the first quarter with a tie ball game at 7-7. Chmura goes in motion to the left side. That's the tight end. Here's the draw play up the middle. Bennett almost broke it. Brady grabbed him around the waist and brings it down at about the 39-yard line. Jeff Brady, little undersized middle linebacker at 6'1", 243. In his fifth year out of Kentucky, played with the Packers, was cut, and made a big interception last year to beat the Packers.
That's right. Jeff Brady, this is just his 11th start career-wise in the NFL. He has been the NFC Defensive Player of the Week twice during those 11 starts.
Third down now, and 6 yards to go for the first down for the Packers. Beebe is split out. We have 4 wide receivers for the Packers on this third down play. Here's Brett Favre waiting. Minnesota looks like Brady wants to come. Now he changes the play at the line of scrimmage. Back comes Brady. Back goes Brett Favre. He stepped up. No, he didn't get away. And down he came. A flag on the play. On the far side of the field. Who did what? The officials will confer, and we'll see what the flag is all about. It is going to be a call of, I don't know.
Brings up fourth down.
Whatever it was a non-flag play, apparently, and it'll be a sack for the Minnesota Vikings. He looked like he wanted to point some way or another, but nothing really happened. So it's going to be fourth down, and the Packers really are going to have to slow down the Minnesota Vikings.
Well, they are. Derek Alexander came up the field unmolested, and, I mean, somebody tried to block him, but they didn't have any luck.
David Palmer back to return this for Minnesota, and again the Vikings with the momentum in a 7-7 ball game. Here's a good snap to Craig Gentry. Gets a lot of time, and this is kind of off the side of the foot, but now it sails to Palmer back at the 24. Palmer looking to come up the middle is drilled at about the 27 or 8 yard line, and down he will go there, and Minnesota will take over. Well, drinking responsibly is always a good game plan. A message from your friends at Anheuser-Busch. Maybe when I start talking, no, it's a pretty good football team. First down, Minnesota, and they take over at their own 28-yard line. 7-7 tie ball game. Each quarterback with a touchdown pass. 2 running backs now in motion to the near side. That's going to be the tight end. Here is the pitch back to Robert Smith. Cuts up to the hole and is drilled right at the 27-yard line. That hole didn't stay open very long, did it? Santana Dotson was in there among others.
Sean Jones, the key figure in that effort, though. He just took Andrew Jordan and just cleaned his clock.
Max, Sean doesn't get taken out of plays too often. He holds his ground pretty well.
I thought last year he was better against the run than any defensive lineman they had, and he's continuing that this year. That's been a welcome addition to that run defense.
The lead blocker that time was Charles Evans, by the way.
Stop the running game. You got to have that guy at the point of attack defeating his man. That's where it all starts.
Jake Reed comes out right against Doug Evans, and Chris Carter goes to, it's Reed left and Carter to the right, and they've not thrown to Carter yet today. Second down and about 11 for Minnesota, and Warren Moon has to take a timeout. Warren Moon, with the Packers coming up on him, took a timeout. He didn't have enough time to change the play, so he uses a timeout. Well, Putzer's Big and Tall is your headquarters for big and tall men's clothing and accessories. Name brand fashion, licensed apparel, and great service is what Putzer's is known for. See the clothing professionals at Putzer's Big and Tall. For a free catalog, call 1-800-592-6266. Warren Moon, the veteran that he is, didn't want to run a play that he wasn't ready to run, didn't want to run into the strength of the Packer defense, so he takes the timeout. We got a lot of people who want to be remembered on this particular day, and Packer fans everywhere. This is from Barbara Van Dyke. He is taking her grandson to the ball game today. Now, I think that's a great idea. A grandmother taking a grandson to a football game.
So it'll started early on being a Packer fan.
You can't ever start too early, though, can you? The ball resting at the 28-yard line. Second down, 11 for the Minnesota Vikings. They have a lead blocker, Charles Evans, to the left of Robert Smith on the second down play. Here's Moon waiting for the call, straight back in the pocket. He stumbled, has to throw the ball out right to Robert Smith at the 30-yard line, and he's forced out of bounds by Craig Newsom. The Packers had him kind of hemmed in on the sideline. He will get 5 or 6 yards on the play, but they were going to give him that and no more.
I think that you showed that both ankles were sprained a couple weeks ago on Warren Moon, and he stumbled trying to get out there. Almost cost him the play, but he managed to get it off.
So it is going to be third down for Minnesota at about 4.
I don't know if you guys noticed, but boy, can Brian Williams cover some ground in a hurry.
Ampley is into the backfield for Minnesota. Chris Carter, who is normally a possession receiver, is put off to the right. He goes in motion now, back towards the line of scrimmage. Here goes Boone back to throw, and here they come. He fires it over the middle. Great play, Craig Newsom, reaching in front of Jake Reed and knocking the ball down over his left shoulder. Is there a flag in the backfield? There is.
They got holding on the Vikings.
Well, I think you would let that one go and make Minnesota kick the ball.
Sean Jones really ripping off the ball that time.
That was a nice play by Craig Newsom to come around the corner and to knock the ball away from Jake Reed. Let's listen.
Illegal hands to the face by the offense, number 73. The penalty is declined. It brings up fourth down.
That's Todd Stussy.
He's working against Sean Jones. Jones really got off the ball. Normally plays well against Stussy, and Stussy's not a bad football player.
A minute 22 to go here in the first quarter, and we've had a lot happen here in the first quarter. It is tied at 7-7. So back is Mitch Berger to do the kicking. Desmond Howard is back to return it for the Packers. Berger kicked last year for Philadelphia. Waiting for the snap. It's a good snap. Here comes the rush. He gets it away. This is a high floater. Desmond Howard is coming up, calls fair catch, and makes the catch at the 30-yard line. Really well done by Desmond Howard. That baby almost went to the roof of this building here at the Metrodome, and he stayed with it and caught it at the 30-yard line. Well, today's game is brought to you by Time Corporation, and it's more than 500 participating financial institutions. Time, T-Y-M-E, providing access to your cash 24 hours per day, 365 days a year at thousands of time machines located throughout Packerland. Well, Minnesota, I think, is pretty well convinced itself it can play with the Green Bay Packers.
Well, I don't think it took much convincing.
No.
Both these teams are 3-0. Last year they split out. They're a pretty even team, even though the Packers get most of the publicity for being, like the team. The Minnesota Vikings are undefeated.
So it'll be a first down. Carolina has gone up 10-0 on San Francisco today. First down for the Packers at the 30-yard line with 1:14 left in the quarter. Favre sets up a screen to Edgar Bennett. Got some blocking, but it breaks down. Bennett stays on his feet, gets the corner, and drives forward to about the 37-yard line. He was hit back at the 31, and he bounced off a tackler. That screen had one blocker and 2 defenders, and that won't work.
No, the Vikings, they can run to the football. And what we're seeing with Edgar, it's interesting, not in high school, not in college. He was never the featured back. Just these past couple of years, and you see him growing in that role.
He likes the role very much. He wanted the ball more even after game number 1. The ball is out to the 38-yard line.
A screen pass, a great call when you can't control the rush of the other side. And that's what's happened to the Packers, so that was actually a very good call.
All right, it is going to be a second down and about 2 yards to go with 30 seconds to go in the quarter. Here's a man in motion. The handoff goes up the middle. Bennett looking for the first down.
Just
drive close to it at about the 39-yard line as the clock continues to run down. So you got a note from Dick McCann, all big Packer fans listening to us on WCLO down in Janesville, Wisconsin. He's one of our many sponsors in our local stations, and we appreciate that a great deal. Clock is going to run out with 5 seconds to go. The Packers are third down and about 6 inches to go for the first down, and we'll take a break. That's the end of the quarter. It's 7-7, the Packers and the Minnesota Vikings here on the Green Bay Packer Radio Network.
The complete line of Logo 7 Packers.
It is 10 inches for the Packers. Minnesota in tight. Here is the quick handoff, and diving Henderson. Did he get the first down? No. The far side official has marked it short. The far side official marked it short, Max, from where he came in. And Henderson tried to go over the top in a very closely bunched pile. I don't think got there.
I'll tell you, they had to reach the 40-yard line, and I don't think they did it.
No, it's fourth down. They're going to have to kick it away.
Tell you what, the linemen in that case have got to get lower than the other guy. I don't care how low that is, you got to get lower than defensive linemen on that.
By the way, here in the second quarter, our Bud Packer payoff contestant, Marlana Seipel from Sheboygan. Marlana, we'll see if you can't win that $620 here in this quarter. Well, that's too bad. The Packers had a chance to keep a pretty good drive going, but that short yardage situation has plagued the Green Bay Packers for I don't know how many years now.
Well, that's true, Jim, and I don't think you can be a complete team until you can make that third one. You've got to be able to make that to go all the way.
I tell you what, that one's on the offensive line, because if you can't get William Henderson a couple of feet going straight ahead, I mean, that's not good.
So it'll be kicking time again for Craig Hendrick, and David Palmer is the deep man. The Minnesota Vikings have shown defensively that they can certainly give the Packers a great deal to think about. All right, Hendrick waits for the snap. He's standing back at the 25-yard line. And he gets a good snap from center. No rush by Minnesota up the middle. This is a high driving kick. Palmer says fair catch and catches it at the 9-yard line. That's not what he wanted to do, to catch it back there. And Minnesota will take over deep in its own territory. A timeout on the field. It is a 7-7 ball game back after this on the Packer Radio Network. Families banking, rely on the best. Rely on First Financial Bank, currently the best bank in Wisconsin, according to Money Magazine. First Financial Bank, an equal housing lender, member FDIC. First down, Minnesota at their own 10-yard line. Warren Moon with a single running back and 2 wide receivers. Moon's going to throw on first down. Back in the pocket, they come hard at him. Chris Carter with his first catch, drilled at the 15-yard line. Good open field tackle made by Craig Newsom to drive him down. They're going to give him maybe the 16-yard line. Moon got surrounded that time, Max, for about the first time in the ball game, but he was able to get rid of him.
I'll tell you, Chris Carter came down and either pushed off or something, but found himself very open, and he's good at doing that, and he got away with one.
He's a very physical wide receiver.
Yes, and I don't know if he shoved him or not, but Leroy Butler ended up on the ground on that play.
Second down, about 4 from the 16-yard line for Minnesota. Got to get Warren Moon on his backside a couple of times. Moon waiting on the second down play. Sends a man in motion out to the left. That's Charles Evans. Here's Moon on the right, and the handoff to Robert Smith. Caught from behind and dragged down by Simmons. Simmons leaped the line of scrimmage and caught Smith and brought him down at about the 13-yard line.
You know, that is a huge play, because field position-wise, we got a chance to really capitalize right here and swing the momentum back the other way. Big play by Wayne Simmons.
Ball at the 13-yard line. It becomes a third down and 7 for the Minnesota Vikings. Vikings will take Evans out. They'll take Robert Smith out of the ball game and go into a passing down. Long time in the huddle for Warren Moon as he brings them to the line of scrimmage. Split off to the right side, Kadre Ishmael. Got to make sure he doesn't get behind you. And Chris Carter out here all alone with Craig Newsom. That's a matchup they love to have. It is third down and 7 yards for Warren Moon. Got to get to him quickly, and now what happens? Flag on the play. A delay of game, I believe, on Minnesota. Minnesota did. I said they spent a lot of time in the huddle, and they did, and it cost them 5 yards.
Personal opinion, inexcusable for a veteran quarterback.
Yeah, I don't know why. That's when you call a timeout or something, Jim. You don't take that penalty to put yourself back on the 8-yard line.
Well, that's where he is now, back on the 8-yard line in his own territory for Warren Moon. Reed goes left this time. To the right is Chris Carter, and Ishmael is the slot on the right side.
Packers going with their dime defense. Leroy Butler lined up like a linebacker.
Third down. Here's Warren Moon straight back in the pocket. Here they come, but he's got some room upfield. He's caught it. It is Reed at the 23-yard line. Reed brought down at the 24, first down. Just did not get to Warren Moon in time, and Reed with a down-and-out in pattern took too long to develop.
I think Reed's creating a mismatch back there, Jim. Those shorter defensive backs are having trouble sticking with him, and that was a very big play for the Vikings.
The Packers sent Butler on the blitz, so obviously they got one less man to cover Jake Reed.
Reed, by the way, has had 12 catches coming into the ball game for 261 yards. He gets big yardage when he catches. First down, he's had 1,000 yards each of the last 2 years. Here's Warren Moon. He's going to throw on first down. Here's Dotson, a swing pass out to Robert Smith at the 20. He eludes one man, gets to about the 27, and is brought down there. He eluded Brian Williams, who made the penetration. Then the tackle is made by Newsom and Eugene Robinson, who comes up to help out, but a gain of about 5 for Minnesota.
Smith's the kind of guy that's going to take more than one, but Brian Williams, you're facing an elusive runner, you got to break down and get yourself under control.
We have 11 and a half minutes to go here in the second quarter, a ball game that's tied 7-7 and one that is to be a contest.
No doubt about it. We'll be looking at a final field goal here in this one, I hope.
Not. I hope not. It is the second down. Let's call it 6 yards to go, Minnesota. The ride and the handoff to Smith back against the grain, but he's ridden down at the 30-yard line. Somebody made really good penetration. Let me wait until he takes the turnaround. I think that's Santana Dotson, who has him down on the ground. It is Santana who made the initial contact and dropped him at about the 29, maybe the 30-yard line. Split the difference. Third down and 5 for Minnesota. Look at Larry Brooks out on the field to his defensive lineman. He's making some changes. You got to get him off quickly.
Off the field.
All right, the Packers got to get ready. Warren Moon's at the line of scrimmage.
Packers are going with 3 defensive linemen. That was the problem.
Jordan splits over to the right side. Looks like they got 3 receivers all in the same area, and the Packers take a timeout. Reggie White with the timeout for the Green Bay Packers.
Confusion on both sides, looks to me like.
We'll take a break and be back after this from your local station on the Packer Radio Network. The Minnesota Vikings at their own 29-yard line. You want to make this play defensively because you've wasted a timeout if you don't come back and make the play defensively. It appeared, Max, that Minnesota tried to put a tight end and 2 wide receivers in a space of about 3 feet.
And I think the defense, Jim, had really not figured out how to handle that, so they called a timeout. They would get reset for this one.
That's probably because nobody ever saw that kind of a formation before.
Well, the Packers' answer right now is to go with that 3-2-6 alignment we saw last week.
All right, it is going to be third down, and those 3 receivers are in the same spot for the Minnesota Vikings. Here's Warren Moon back to throw. Here they come on a blitz. Moon has to deliver the ball quickly and overshoots. It is intended for Chris Carter, and that was Wayne Simmons coming hard, and Warren Moon went down that time.
Boy, he did, Jim, and I kind of watched what they did on this side, and he actually had a man open. Moon didn't see him. I don't think he had time to look very many people, but he didn't see the guy that was open.
That time, the Vikings used 3 people, 3 of those guys to block Reggie.
They just put a bluff move on Wayne Simmons, and Simmons went right around the defender and hit Warren Moon and knocked him down hard with a shoulder hit. So Mitch Berger will kick. We're still tied at 7-all, 10:27 to go in the second quarter of the game. Packers scored from an 11-yard drive. Minnesota got a break to score their touchdown.
Wow, look at this
Berger really drives this one to Desmond Howard all the way back to the 14. Howard looking to the right. Howard tries to turn it upfield to the 20 and out to about the 22. Pretty good return by Desmond Howard. He didn't have a whole lot of room to maneuver, and he gets it out to the 22-yard line. Well, this Packer broadcast is sponsored by Quick Trip, home of the Quick Trip quality gasoline. Guaranteed to never cause fuel-related problems in your car. Available exclusively at Quick Trip. Well, you know, the last 2 times the Packers have had the football, Larry, they've moved the ball well. A perfectly executed slant pattern had a first down for them, and the fumble stopped that drive, and they had a 3rd and inches, and they didn't get the first down on the next drive.
No, and we're going to, quite frankly, have to execute better to beat a charged-up and a pretty good playing Minnesota football team right now.
Ball is marked at the 22.5-yard line in Packer territory. And here comes Brett Favre. He'll send Antonio Freeman to the left. In the backfield, Henderson is there with Edgar Bennett on a first down play from the 22-yard line. Now Minnesota moves around to the line of scrimmage. Here is Dixon Edwards moving. Here's Favre with a quick pattern to the right side and out to the 30-yard line. Boy, that is just a bullet pass, but there is a flag on the play.
That flag's in a bad
play. Yes, it really is.
Got to be holding.
It's against Minnesota, says the official. It's holding or hands to the face, I would suspect, against the Minnesota Vikings. The ball's out to the 30. Let's listen to the referee, Ed Huckuli, who is working the ball game today. but he's still talking with his officials at the moment. The flag was in the backfield of the Packers, and I'm not sure what the Packers are looking to the sidelines to Mike Holmgren for a decision. Let's listen.
Illegal hands to the face by the defense, number 90. 5-yard penalty, automatic first down.
So they'll take the first down. They'll give up about 3 yards on the play and put the ball at the 27 with a first down. Our ball game today brought to you by State Farm Insurance and the State Farm agents throughout Wisconsin. For all of your family insurance needs, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Boy, has that become a popular call in modern-day football.
And
They even have that penalty, Max, when you played?
No, there was no illegal to the face. Everybody went for the face.
Oh, the head slap was legal then.
Yeah, it really was.
Well, when Max played, they didn't have any bars across the front of the helmet either.
Well, those leather helmets wouldn't hold them.
It's going to be a first down at the 27-yard line for the Packers. Stepping into the backfield is Chimera. Now he goes in motion, but the official has blown the whistle. Why? I don't know. It's hard to hear in the dome, and I think even the officials have difficulty in communicating with each other. And that's what happened on that particular play. There was a lack of communication somewhere.
Right now, the officials have taken the home crowd out of the game.
Let's listen. He may tell us something. No, maybe he didn't want to talk to us.
Doesn't want to admit it.
Ball's back at the 27.
First down. There was no play on that. The official blew the whistle. First down.
Well, you're the one who blew it, Ed. The official who blew the whistle was the guy who made the announcement. He didn't say why he did that.
They should say the official blew it, period.
They start the clock at 9:45 to go. 7-7 tie ball game. We're in the second quarter. Brooks is split out wide left for the Packers, and Freeman to the right. On the first down play, in motion to the outside goes Chimera. Here's the handoff faked by Brett Favre. Now he looks over the middle. There's Chimera. Dropped the ball. He had the ball at the 45, and as he hit the turf, the ball came bouncing loose. Now you got to secure it and take a step before it's a catch. And now a late flag because we got some pushing and shoving going on at this moment.
We have those dreaded extracurriculars.
Do you suppose one of those officials would have nerve enough to throw a flag on somebody and actually mark off yardage? It's usually on both sides. I don't know who did this. I have no idea. But if you're going to throw a flag, make it mean something.
I'll tell you what, something else that's distressing in the early going. Jerry Brown's having his hands full with Derek Alexander.
Well, it's a personal foul against the Packers. Maybe I didn't want that after all. Could I take that back? Let's see what the officials will say happened on that particular play.
Finally, an official with nerve.
Yeah, didn't want him to have that much nerve. And we still got some yelling going on.
Mark Chimera is hot.
Whoever that is that's yelling is not going to back off.
Personal foul by the offense, number 52. Continuing action foul. The downtown. The 15-yard penalty, and it's second down.
You know what? You not only lose the down, you also lose 15 yards.
I didn't know Sinners did that, Larry.
That's Frankie. I'll tell you what, Frankie's are in force or downfield or something. They're a problem that develops. Frankie's going to be part of it. I mean, he just hustles down, and he'll defend it. Chimera was having problems, he'll defend it.
Well, the ball is all the way back to the 17-yard line. And the Minnesota defenders are urging the crowd to make a lot of noise, so the Packers will have trouble. They're down in this right end zone. I don't know what direction that is.
They got trouble without the noise right now.
Maybe that's the east end zone down there.
They got second in a million.
Yeah, dangerous when you're second and long in this end of the field. You got to be careful.
So Brett Favre brings him to the line of scrimmage, and again, the officials are not ready to play. They are really holding up the ball game a long time. And again, they're not ready. Here comes the second official in, and they didn't go back far enough. Now they move it back to the 15-yard line. 10 seconds for station identification. This is the Packer Radio Network.
For Dallas, Milltown, and all of Wisconsin's great Northwest, this is WJMC-FM, Rice Lake, Chautauqua.
Second down, about a mile and a half to go for the Green Bay Packers back at the 15-yard line. Brett knows they're going to come hard after him, so he's got to be very careful here. Here's Favre waiting. Favre, play action fake. Back to throw, steps up. On the run. Runs out to the 20. To the 25. To the 30. To the 35. Caught from behind. Tripped up and out of bounds at the 38-yard line, close to a first down.
I think he just took that extra step to get a first down. What a great run by Brett Favre. He is a lot faster this year, Jim, than he was last year.
A big assist to Antonio Freeman downfield. Just a heck of a block on Dwayne Washington. Just a great job by Antonio being alert.
I thought he got kind of a bad mark where the football is. The far side sticks, which are the official sticks, have him ruled he has to get to the 38, and they say it is a first down. So it is a great play by Brett Favre. Somebody dived and hit him around the ankles. That's the part that worries you when that kind of a play develops. But he was headed for the sideline and did a great job.
You see the way he's carrying that football, Jim? They will tell him, don't carry the football like that or somebody will knock it out of your hand.
Chimera in motion on a first down play. The handoff to Edgar Bennett. Worms his way through for a couple of yards to about the 39-yard line. Edgar Bennett trying to go up the middle. No hole developed that time. And he's brought down after a gain of a yard, says the officials. It'll be second down.
Not something you see every day. William Henderson being defeated by a linebacker. That time, Gerald Talley.
Well, today's Packer broadcast proudly sponsored by your local Train Heating and Cooling dealer. Remember, it's hard to stop a train. They make some defensive changes, do the Minnesota Vikings, and bring in Harlan Barnett, who made a big play defensively earlier for the Minnesota Vikings. So it's going to be a second down and 9 for Brett Favre. 3 wide receivers to the right side this time for Green Bay. Here's Favre, straight back in the pocket. Here they come. Favre looking. Favre going to rainbow it down the sideline. There's a man open, and the ball is out of bounds. It was thrown to the outside, but a flag on the play as well. And it is tripping on the part of the Packers. Wow, too many mistakes being made by the Green Bay Packers. Brett Favre stayed in there and took the hit in order to fly it down the right side towards Antonio Freeman, but the ball went too far to the outside, away from the defender, and it's incomplete. But this will be a tripping call against the Green Bay Packers.
Freeman actually had him beat, Jim. It's just a matter that Brett threw it out of bounds, and he didn't do any good to catch it.
Well, you know, one of the things they might be learning here is that on a one-on-one race, they might be able to beat the corners deep.
Yeah, I hope they learn real quick that mistakes will kill you in this game.
Who was he tripping on? Did anybody catch that?
Well, it's against the Packers. That's the main problem on the play.
Jerry Brown's been struggling. I didn't hear the number right there, but he has been struggling.
Yeah, they got the close-up on Gary, so let's watch Gary right here.
Let's see. How did he trip him? Oh, yeah, he threw his leg out there. No, Gary can't do that.
Well, at least his whole body is a weapon.
Just kind of kicked him in the bad spot.
Ball back to the 29-yard line, where it becomes third down at about 19 yards to go for the Packers. It's still a 7-all ball game with 8:21 to go in the first half. Make it second down because of the penalty. Second down for the Packers. Here's Brett, short drop, quick pattern to the outside, caught to the 40-yard line, and a good play by the Packers. Let me see, is that Desmond Howard?
Yes.
It is Desmond who caught the ball on a dive down to about the 40. They went for about half of it on a quick slant pattern, and they do get it to the 40, where it becomes a third and workable 8 yards for the Packers.
Yeah, might try that same pattern again to the other side, Jim. That's with Favre throwing the ball. This is about a 90% chance of completion.
Well, the thing about using Desmond, and you're waiting for Derek Mays and Terry Mickens, Desmond has been used as an intended receiver in games.
Yes, he has. And he better be, because they only got about 4 healthy ones, totally healthy anyway.
All right, the officials are saying what? They stopped the clock again, and a timeout is going to be taken by the Packers. The Packers have to use the timeout. We'll take a break and be back after we pause for this. This is the Packer Radio Network.
At Bergstrom, they've earned their reputation for always giving their customers
Minnesota Vikings today.
It certainly has been today. When you get penalized, you turn the ball over. When you do something good, it gets negated.
Maybe Minnesota specializes in ugly games. They had a very ugly game last week against Chicago.
I think we're just spoiled.
Third down. Here's Brett Favre. Short drop. Over the middle. It is caught and dropped by Brooks. Brooks had the ball at about the 49-yard line, but the ball was knocked loose from him. I don't know whether he would have had the first down or not. It was just a quick slant, with Minnesota again coming hard on Brett Favre.
Yes, they followed my advice and ran the same play to this side, but he was hit so hard he couldn't hold it. He did not have the first down, Jimmy. He was about a yard short because this was a solid hit. He was going nowhere.
And the hit was made by Dwayne Washington, 5'11", 185, the right corner for the Minnesota Vikings. So here's David Palmer back again.
You got to give the Vikings credit for doing what they have to do. I mean, they are playing very aggressively and so forth, going after the football. They are doing the things that they want to do.
So Hendrick will kick again for the Packers. Brett Favre is 7 out of 14 today. Here comes Minnesota, but they are held out. And a high kick. Palmer is going to be able to return this from the 20 to the 25. Broken tackle on his feet out to the 34. He broke the early string of Packer people downfield and got himself out in the open with 7:29 remaining in the quarter and a timeout. Back after this, this is the Packer Radio Network.
To keep your vehicle running clean and efficient
today, the ball at the 35-yard line, where the Minnesota Vikings will take over with a first down and a pretty good field position area for the Minnesota Vikings. All right, here we go. First down. Crowd not let down at all here in the Metrodome. Chris Carter goes to the left. He's got one today.
We could use one of those patented turnovers or somewhere along here.
From the 35-yard line, Smith, the lone running back for the Minnesota Vikings. Warren Moon, 6 of 11, hands it off to Robert Smith. A cutback again, and he gets out to about the 38. Not much there, but he made a good move at the line of scrimmage and gets himself about 3 yards to the 38-yard line. Reggie White among those in on the tackle for the Packers at about the 38. Now Charles Evans will come in, and they'll take out a tight end, Greg DeLong.
Packer defensive line not giving up much ground, but they are having trouble shedding blocks quickly so they can make the tackle.
Second down, let's call it 6 yards to go, Minnesota. Carter splits to the right side, and Jake Reed to the left for Minnesota. Out of the backfield is Evans in motion, and he waits for Robert Smith, who goes straight up the middle and dives. Boy, didn't go anywhere. Somebody made a great ankle tackle for the Packers. I believe it's Santana Dotson. Dotson grabbed him around the ankles, and even at 212 pounds, Robert Smith can't go very far if you got Santana Dotson hanging on.
I tell you, somewhat conservative play calling here by the Vikings, Jim. I believe they're content to make this a knockdown drag out and just stand there and tight and try to win it some other way. They got to throw the ball now.
Third down, Jake Reed left, and Ishmael to the right, and a slot on the left in Chris Carter. Packers doing some finger pointing, saying, you take that one, I'll take this one.
Turn that 3-2.
Here is Warren Moon. Moon straight back in the pocket. Here they come from the backside, and the ball is broken up. What a play by Doug Evans over Chris Carter. Evans on Chris Carter. Carter wanted somebody to blow a whistle, but that's the kind of play that Carter does, where he puts the body on him, and Evans was there to make a third great play today.
Like we talked earlier, Doug Evans is facing a physical receiver, so he's turned very physical himself, and it's working very well.
So it'll be kicking time for Mitch Berger. The Packers really have been stuck back in their own territory by Berger's kicking so far today. Desmond Howard, the return man for Green Bay. Waiting for the snap is Berger. He stands at his own 25. The snap comes from the 39. No rush this time. This is a line drive that picks up some momentum. Desmond Howard back to the 10. Desmond trips as he tries to come upfield. Now goes back to the left to the 15 and gets 5 yards. Pretty good play. He had nothing really there for him, so he took the 5 yards he could get, and the Packers will take over at the 15-yard line. So we have a tie ball game, 7-7. 5:59 remaining in the first half. Day in and day out, at home or away from home, you can always count on the great taste of Bud Light. It won't fill you up. It never lets you down. So make it a Bud Light. For all of those folks down in Indianapolis, we're rooting tomorrow for Indianapolis, aren't we? I mean, if we were on in Miami, we'd be rooting for Miami tomorrow, but we're going to root for Indianapolis tomorrow night.
I tell you, Indianapolis is a good football team. I said at the time that they played us in the preseason, they beat us, the only team to beat us this year, and I thought physically they matched up against almost anybody.
They won a great game last week against the Dallas Cowboys, got behind and never gave up. But again, the Packers here are deep in their own territory back at the 15-yard line with the first down. John Randall moves around a little bit over the right guard position. Back to pass is Brett Favre. Now he gets out of there, tackled and down. He fumbled. Are they going to rule out a fumble? He was on the ground when the ball came loose, and they're going to give it to Minnesota at the 4-yard line. It appears Brett was down when the ball was fumbled, but Minnesota will have it at the 4-yard line.
That was a great individual play by John Randall. He was coming in, it was blocked by Dorsey Levens, defeated that block, caused the fumble. Just a great individual play by an all-pro.
Third turnover by the Packers today. Brett Favre had a little time to throw, but then he tried to move up. We'll take a look at it on the replay. He faked to the right, came back to the left, and then gets caught around the waist. No, the ball was loose. Here you're right. It was loose all the way.
Watch Jeff Brady, the man of the hour again. He gets it.
Earl Dotson had a chance to
something the Vikings are doing to keep double teams off John Randall. They walk up their middle linebacker, Brady, and that forces Aaron Taylor to take him. Consequently, Randall's on a back.
Earl Dotson had a line at the ball and just couldn't drag it in. First and goal at the 4-yard line, Minnesota. 7-7 ball game, and Minnesota trying to take the lead right here. Got a single running back in Amp Lee. Lee goes in motion to the outside on a passing down. Oh, the left guard moved. Flag on the play. The ball is loose.
We got lucky.
The ball loose and an illegal motion on the part of the Minnesota Vikings, so the play would never count. What happened?
We got lucky because Robert Smith goes in motion. Packers are in their dime defense. One linebacker, Smith goes in motion. Wayne Simmons goes with him. Warren Moon right where Wayne Simmons left.
So it'll be a 5-yard penalty. It was the left tackle who moved. for the Minnesota Vikings, and the left tackle is Todd Stussy. So it is going to be back to the 9, first and goal at the 9, Minnesota.
The Viking coach has been studying what we do, too.
5:49 remaining. Minnesota appears well prepared for this ball game. To the right goes Jake Reed out there one-on-one with Craig Newsom. And again, the officials taking a lot of time to get the ball back in play. Minnesota's at the line of scrimmage. Now they mark the ball in play. Here we go with a first and goal at the 9. Amp Lee is the single running back. In motion goes Jordan. Here is Moon back to throw it. Moon looking. Moon tackled back at the 16-yard line. There's a sack for Mack. That's Santana Dotson who came in on top of him and knocked him down back at the 16-yard line. And money to the Mack Fund compliments the Budweiser beer.
Hey, you just got a good football player in Santana Dotson creating problems just by being an individual talent, just beating a guy one-on-one.
Second down and goal, Minnesota at the 15-yard line of the Green Bay Packers.
Oh, that was a big one, too, to get them back there now in a tough position. Maybe we can hold them to a field goal here. That would be great after that turnover in that position.
Chris Carter goes to the left side for the Minnesota Vikings. Everybody else is in tight. Jordan goes in motion to the left. Here's Warren Moon on the ride to the left, and the handoff to Amp Lee. Pulled back at the 20-yard line by George.
Wayne Simmons.
Is it Simmons? Yeah. It is Simmons on the right sideline who made the tackle and ripped him down for a loss of 5. And again, we got people pushing and shoving.
Packers were in that 3-2 look, and they liked the blitz out of it. That time they caught the Vikings unawares because Wayne Simmons was blitzing.
Third and goal, Minnesota at the 20-yard line, and a lot of people milling around after that play.
Well, they're a little bit disappointed the way he threw their back down, and it could have been a penalty. It was very borderline that he didn't get a flag here.
Well, he was trying to make sure that he didn't get away.
I think it was that last throwdown that might have been
chug, right? A little chug on the last play. We saw it on instant replay here.
He had already drug him about 8 yards.
Ball is at the 23rd and goal. Minnesota at the 20-yard line. And here's another conference by the officials. The ball, fellas, it's a really delayed ball game by so many conferences by officials.
Simmons very, very active. Most active game today.
Third down and goal, Minnesota from the 20-yard line. Packers try to stop a Minnesota drive. It started at the 4 of the Packers. Here's Warren Moon waiting. The Packers right up on top of the line of scrimmage. Moon, as the Packers come from the outside. Moon up over the middle. Touchdown! Or did he catch it or not? A touchdown in the end zone. Minnesota to Padre Ishmael. Ishmael with a touchdown for Minnesota.
I'll tell you can't make a better catch than that, Jim. Well covered, a guy right on his back.
A flag on the play, but it's against the Packers.
It was after the play anyway. Santana Dotson and John Randall were getting into it.
So the Packers have lost some of their poise. Padre Ishmael was really covered well by Doug Evans, and yet he makes the play.
We had pressure on Warren Moon as well.
Moon gets knocked down by Santana Dotson on the play. Watch Ishmael on the catch. It's a touchdown, Minnesota. He gets bumped. This is by Craig Newsom on the coverage. And did he have the ball? I'm not sure. It looked awfully close. Whether he caught that ball or not might be in question. He was trying to drag it in as he hit in the end zone, but the penalty was against the Packers. It will be marked off on the ensuing kickoff. This is crazy what's going on here right now.
I'll tell you, when it's third down and that many, you don't want to let them get a big one, but they did.
Minnesota takes advantage of the turnover and scores the touchdown as Moon has a second TD pass. Moon 20 yards after the Packers had thrown them from the 4 all the way back to the 20. They get the touchdown on the third down play. Ishmael with the TD for the Minnesota Vikings. And it comes now with 5 minutes and 1 second to go here in the second quarter. 14-7 Minnesota. They go 4 yards in 3 plays after Favre's fumble. And you're going to have to figure out some way, Larry, to keep people off of Brett Favre because he has no time to throw the ball.
No, he didn't. And like right now, if the Packers needed something to bring him back down to earth, they got to be well down to earth right now. They're just not playing well at all.
Well, you could win a new Arctic Cat Puma Deluxe snowmobile. No purchase is necessary. Just enter when you visit your participating Arctic Cat dealer, including May Sports Center in Sturgeon Bay and Schroeder's Marine and Sports Center in Rhinelander. Well, you know, they're still looking at this play. Did he catch it or not? It was close, down on the ground. He was kind of fighting it as it went down, but it's in Minnesota's score column now. And the penalty is a 15-yarder out to the 45. I'm not sure what the penalty was all about.
Santana Dotson and John Randall were jawing at each other, a little shoving going on. That's when it happened.
Packers are going to have to regain some poise here in this ball game, Max, to get themselves back in it. They trail 14-7.
I think you hit it right on the head, Jim. Right now, they're just being out-hustled a little bit by this Viking team, and it's got them a little bit off rhythm, and they're not used to that. They're used to getting those turnovers and easy touchdowns. They're going to have to work for it today.
All right, we have 5 minutes and 1 second to go. The Packers now with 3 turnovers today. And in their last 3 possessions, they have turned it over.
How will we deal with adversity?
That's a good question, isn't it? Here is the kick. And this one is kicked by Berger out of the end zone. I'm not sure what the advantage of that was, but he kicked it out from the 45. And the Packers will take over at the 20-yard line with a first down. You know, for pregame reviews and postgame analysis of every Green Bay Packer game, turn to the Journal-Sentinel Sports section. Ball comes out to the 20-yard line. We still have a lot of time remaining here in the first half of the game. Packers have only 1 timeout left, and Minnesota will have 2 in this final 4:55 that remains right now.
Packers have not had to come from behind this year, I don't think. I don't think they've ever been behind this year.
No, this is the first time they've been behind in a football game this season. So Brett Favre, we'll see what he can do. William Henderson joined the huddle late and brings the play to the line of scrimmage with Brett Favre. Now you split the 2 running backs behind Favre on the first down, a play-action fake. Brett steps up in the pocket. Brett looks. He's got a man open. Robert Brooks at the 45, the 40, the 35, the 30 of Minnesota, inside to the 20, down to the 14-yard line, but a flag on the play.
I think they got Gary Brown on Derek Alexander. He's just having a nightmare day.
It's holding. It's all coming back.
So the Packers are guilty of the hold. Robert Brooks had broken open at the 45, and again, the Minnesota Dome jinx is working against the Packers.
I'll tell you what, they showed the striking power they have, though, Jim. There they go, 70, 80 yards, even though it didn't count. They just showed the striking power that these Packers have.
So the penalty is called against Gary Brown.
I'll tell you what, Gary has got to be careful in a game like this. He's having problems to go back to being as basic as you possibly can be. Do not try to do anything extraordinary. Be as basic as you can be, because you get a panic situation and your technique goes down the drain, you're going to have a bigger nightmare than it already is.
I'll tell you what, somebody just totally lost Robert Brooks on that play on a crossing pattern across the middle of the field. He had to wait for the pass, and then he got good blocking downfield from Antonio Freeman to keep him going forward. Antonio with a nice play, and they got the ball all the way down to the 15, but it's brought back. It is a first down and 20 yards to go from their own 10-yard line. So the Packers are destructing a little bit, but got a lot of time to overcome all of this. It's Jackson in motion. Back goes Favre to throw. Again, he throws it downfield for Robert Brooks, and Brooks tried to take an out route, and the ball was thrown up. It was an out sideline route, and the ball's thrown up. And again, Ed Herculi is talking with the Packers in the huddle. I don't know whether he is warning them or whether they're asking that somebody is doing something else.
Sometime when they're calling a lot of penalties, like a lot of holdings and things, they'll come in and say, hey, keep your hands in, keep your hands in.
Brett Favre got cut from behind. Did he ever get cut by Derek Alexander down underneath and took his legs right out from under him? That is a very scary play. This is a scary ball game right now.
Yes, it is.
We have 4:19 remaining in the first half, 14-7, Minnesota. First down for Brett Favre. Favre on the draw play up the middle. Big hole for William Henderson. To the 20, and another flag on the play. And Packers are just getting nailed with the flags everywhere. What is this call?
I think they got Frankie on Ezra Tuaolo this time.
It's against the Packers again. It'll go back to the 5-yard line. Henderson broke the line of scrimmage, and the Packers can do nothing right at the moment. Let's see what the number of penalties are. 6 penalties for a total of 70 yards in the ballgame. Let's listen. And is Ed going to tell us or not? They're trying to get a signal from the sidelines. You got to take the play, fellas. I mean, the penalty, because otherwise, Packers are all the way out to the 25-yard line and a second down.
What do you think about momentum when it rains, it pours, don't it?
Listen, here comes Ed Herculi. I'm getting tired of him.
Holding by the offense, number 52. After this is the goal, it's second down.
Well, let's see what you can do here from the 5-yard line, second down. This is just kind of goes from scary to scarier for the Packers at the moment. And if you're going to be a good football team, you have to right yourself and get going in this ballgame.
I agree, and I think that holding shouldn't have been called there. It was a pretty good hold. I thought he had to hit pretty good, didn't you, Larry?
He had his hands inside, but sometimes that knucklehead in the backfield will see that.
Well, he's looking for it, see, at this stage, because the Packers have had a lot of plays that way. Bennett tries to get to the outside and is drilled at the 5-yard line. Edgar Bennett tries to go to the outside and is drilled at the 5-yard line. There are a lot of tempers flaring down on the field right at the moment. I assume that you could go back to the old cliche, you can call a holding whenever you wish to do so. But if you draw attention to yourself...
Is that an old cliche? I haven't heard that one before.
If you draw attention to yourself, it will get called more often.
Well, I'll tell you what, if you argue with the guy, he'll keep a closer eye on you.
Yeah, you don't want to call them bad names, that's for sure.
So it is going to be 3rd down and 25 for the Packers. Got to do something right here for a change. Ball's at the 5-yard line. Brett Favre has to take a timeout. Brett has taken another timeout, and that's all 3 of the timeouts. And I'm not sure what Brett is arguing about, whether the clock was started right or whatever it was. He's talking with Ed Hoculi right at the moment. So the ball is actually just shy of the 5-yard line. Is there a timeout? And apparently there is a timeout with 3:11 remaining, 14-7, the Minnesota Vikings, and the adversity is here at the moment.
I don't know about you guys, you probably disagree, but and the Packers will probably throw a bomb out of like the Bear game last year. But at this point, I would do a nice safe running play straight ahead and punt it and regroup and start over.
I'm not even going to ask McGee because I know what he'd do. You'd throw it.
Well, believe it or not, I would not throw the football. I would exactly what Larry said. I don't think you can afford to let them get any more points ahead this half. I think you got to safely get out of here, punt the ball, and see if you can hold them till halftime, and then go in at halftime and see what the hell's going on.
Well, you know what I think I would do, just to expand on what you're doing, is throw the safest pass you've got for a 5 or 10 yard game to give you some room to operate.
You're just saying that to disagree.
I know. That's my prerogative. I'm the leader here. 3:11 remaining to be played in the first half.
We're going to read both.
There is no vote.
Well, they got 4 wide receivers, so you might have your wish.
3rd down and 25 for the Packers. Here's Brett Favre back in the pocket. Here they come. A quick pattern goes off to the left side, and that is Don Beebe out to about the 15-yard line. That's exactly what they did.
Jim Irwin,
they threw the safest pass they had in their playbook out to Beebe, and Beebe just ran it up for a 10-yard gain. You hope that he could break it, but at least it gives you a little room to kick the football away. Vikings will do that.
Vikings were very happy to give them that 8 or 10 yards, and they took it, so not a bad play. Did you ever think about being a quarterback?
I used to be a coach, but I always did it up here in this booth. It's much safer.
Good call, Coach.
Here is Hentrick to do the kicking, and David Palmer and Amp Lee are back. Palmer is the deep man at the 45-yard line in Minnesota territory. Craig needs a good one here. Good snap from center. He gets a boot off, and look at this kick. This baby goes all the way to the 24-yard line where it's taken by Palmer, and Palmer is going to be dropped at the 34. You talk about a great kick at a time you absolutely had to have it. That's it. 61 yards on the kick, and we have a man down for the Minnesota Vikings. That appears to be Palmer, who is down on the field at the 35-yard line. Minnesota still with a lot of time and 2 timeouts remaining to get themselves either a field goal or into the end zone for a touchdown. And Warren Moon and his club, obviously, Max, have grown in confidence as this game has gone along.
Well, and they've played some good, solid defensive football against this Pack. They knew what they were doing when this game started, and it's showing up in the Pack's offense.
Well, quality, great selection, and the lowest overall prices are the reasons you should make Pick and Save your one and only food store. For the best overall value, shop at Pick and Save. When it comes to price, they're still talking low. That was not Palmer who was hurt for the Minnesota Vikings. Yeah, Pete Bursich. And he's walking off under his own power. So the ball will be taken over at the 35.
What a weapon Hentrick is. So that right there probably may have saved them a score in this game by getting off a 61-yard kick.
Ball at the 35.
He's the best punter I've seen since I've been watching Packer football. And that goes back to the early 70s.
I agree. I had nobody close to that.
So the Packers, with their turnovers, trail 14-7. Charles Evans, the blocking back for Robert Smith in the backfield for the Minnesota Vikings, and Moon is going to throw on first down. He swings it off to Smith, who falls backward and falls down. Now we got Chris Carter and Wayne Simmons, and Carter is an agitator. Carter was agitating Wayne Simmons at the play. Simmons threw him down as he tried to come over and block him.
Well, I think that was the original agitation, getting thrown to the turf.
Well, Carter is a big kid. Be second down with 2:12 remaining. Second down and 10. Robert Smith trying to back up and catch that ball. Actually was tripping as the ball arrived. Second down, Minnesota. They are at their own 35-yard line, leading 14-7. Here's Warren Moon waiting for the snap from center. Moon goes straight back in the pocket, gets a pretty good rush. They send it out to Amp Lee this time, and Lee's out of bounds at the 35 with 2:07 remaining.
I like those kind of passes.
Yeah. Warren Moon, taking the outside route twice, has gained no yardage on 2 pass plays. It'll be third down, Minnesota.
Which tells you something about the Packer coverage downfield.
I tell you, the Packers wish they had those timeouts back that they had to waste when they couldn't get things straightened out.
Well, you got to make the third down play. Minnesota has made a big third down play on 3rd and 20 for a touchdown, and you got to stop them right here. But now the officials come in and say,
2-minute drill.
That's the 2-minute warning. 2 minutes remaining in the first half. Back after this word from your local station on the Packer Radio Network. And that always hurts you. And Brett Favre hasn't had enough time to get the play in on 2 others. So it is going to be 3rd and 9, Minnesota. Chris Carter splits off wide right. They have 2 receivers to the left. Now this is Jake Reed to the right, and Carter's a slot on the left for Minnesota, and Warren Moon. Moon straight back out of the shotgun. Moon looking. Moon comes up over the middle, and it is broken up beautifully. Oh, what a play by Eugene Robinson in front of the defender there, or in front of the intended receiver, Kadre Ishmael, and Robinson made an absolutely brilliant play.
He did. He almost stepped in and intercepted that, Babe, which would really been a big play, Jim. That was a great play by Robinson.
Third down goes for naught, so it's 4th down, Minnesota.
But too much time for Warren Moon. You got to get a little more pressure on him.
Yeah, he had some time out of that shotgun. I'll tell you what, Robinson was, and maybe Ishmael knocked the ball away from him on that play. Robinson was so good. Here's a high snap to Berger, and Berger will get a little looping kickoff. I don't know whether Howard can return this or not. And he goes to the right, giving ground back to the 20. Not a good move. Comes back to the left. He's going to get a block. Gets around the corner at the 20, to the 25, to the 30, to the 40, down the sidelines, and caught from behind and tripped up on a brilliant defensive play by the Minnesota Vikings. And the man who made the play, Chris Walsh of Minnesota, kept a touchdown from being scored.
Great run back by Desmond Howard and a great block to get him going when he reversed field by Corey Dowden.
Well, you get the field position at the 45, but what a play by Chris Walsh to catch him from behind. A little 4th-year player out at Stanford.
At the time he made that cutback, we thought he was going the wrong way, but boy, did it develop because of that block Larry was talking about, and Desmond can turn it on.
See, that was a great play. Walsh reached out and just tripped him with one hand.
Boy, now, though, we got field position if we just had a couple of timeouts.
Look, I'll tell you what, this officiating crew has more trouble getting in position for a team to play. We had one official down at the other end of the field. Now he gets into the right spot. Now a first down at the 45. First down, 45. Chimero will line up over on the right side for the Packers. It's in Minnesota's territory. Brett Favre back to throw it. He stepped up, caught from behind, and tripped up and goes down at the 45. He got back to the line of scrimmage. Are they going to rule out a sack? They stopped the clock. Should be no reason to stop the clock.
Once again, it started with Gary Brown. This time he is working against Martin Harrison. It doesn't matter who's out there. Gary's having his problems. It started right there.
Brett wanted to throw quickly, but they were upon him. Here's Brett on second down. Here they come again. Now he's got some time. A flag on the play. Oh, now the official has blown another whistle. And Favre gets tripped up again.
I watched Gary Brown that time. He was soundly defeated again, Larry, to the inside. Right direct shot at the quarterback. Gary Brown's just not getting them.
We talked about it earlier. The panic situation where you lose your technique, and then, I mean, you might as well forget it then. You're not going to get anybody blocked.
Play was the false start on the right side that time for the Packers, so they lose 5 back to the 50-yard line where it becomes second down and 15. With 1:19, they've lost a lot of seconds as well.
But unfortunately, the poor pass protection seems to be contagious right now. We're getting pressure for more than 1 point on a number of plays.
Brett is 8 out of 16 for 95 yards. That could have been a sack. But no, it wasn't because it was a penalty. All right, here is the second down play for the Packers. Brett Favre straight back in the pocket. Brett looking, stepping up. comes to the sideline, and it is overshot. And then Brooks, as he is catching the ball, gets hit, and the ball is incomplete. He was hit on the far side of the field by Corey Fuller, who made a nice play for Minnesota. Third down, the Packers.
We are like out of sync right now. We can't get the protection one time. We get the protection. We can't get the ball. I mean, just out of sync.
Yeah, that would have been a heck of a catch by Robert Brooks, but the ball went off his fingertips. Then he takes the penalty punishment from Corey Fuller as well. Watch Fuller hitting just as the ball arrives and knocks it free. So it is going to be 3rd and 15 for Green Bay. Here's Brett Favre, straight back in the pocket. Pump, steps up, loses the ball. It's bouncing around. Who's got the ball? At about the 47. This is big, whoever came up with it. And nobody said anything yet. It's at the 47-yard line. Whose ball is it? It's the Packer ball. Oh, what a break.
I'll tell you what, it's man again. And I love that kid, but he is having a nightmare game.
Santana Dotson. No, not Santana. I beg your pardon. Earl Dotson came up with the ball for the Packers with 45 seconds to go, and the Packers going to let that clock run down as much as they can. That was a series with a lot of potential at the 45-yard line, and you know what? They lost yardage all the way back to the 47 at the other end of the field.
I would not be surprised to see John Michaels in short order. They have got to do something about that spot, or else give Gary help, because he has really just lost it right now.
24 seconds remaining. They haven't snapped the ball yet, 20, and now they let the clock run out with 19. So they'll move it backwards to the 42, and Craig Hendrick will kick it from there. This has been a strange first half, but it is only 14-7. Maybe that's the redeeming factor of the ball game. Minnesota leading.
I think you're right. But Martin Harrison has made Gary Brown look like a rookie personified here in this first half.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
That's when you see a guy whose technique's gone down the drain. They have Derek Alexander out there. He's beating Gary. Now they bring in Martin Harrison on long yardage situations. He's beating him. His technique is just gone.
All right, waiting for the snap is Hendrick. Low snap. He fields it. Oh, that could have been disastrous, too. Here is a high floater. Fair catch call by Minnesota at the 16-yard line. David Palmer makes the catch. So they'll have it at the 16 with only 12 seconds remaining from the lineup, and that's what he's going to do. He'll kneel down. The Packers will head for the locker room. So will the Minnesota Vikings. The Vikings lead 14-7. We'll take a break and be back with our halftime programming after this.
On deck, then Curtis Pride will be the batter. The only
Have to call 414-799-1620 within 6 minutes and 20 seconds in order to win the $620. And what we need for the Packers to do is to get some offense going against the Minnesota Vikings, but the Vikings will have the ball first. The Packers will kick off to Minnesota. It'll be Craig Hendrick doing the kicking off. Just looking at a replay, it looks like Brett Favre might have gotten hit late in one of those plays. Might have gone down a little hard, but he is out there. This has not been anything other than a house of horrors for the Green Bay Packers since Brett Favre became the quarterback of the Green Bay Packers. He has thrown a touchdown pass. Packers took advantage of a turnover by Minnesota, had a first down at the 11-yard line on an interception by Eugene Robinson, and scored on a third down play, by the way, to Robert Brooks on a pass from Brett Favre. Minnesota also scored on a third down play from the 20-yard line. They had a first and goal at the 4. The Packers then threw them all the way back to the 20 in 2 plays, and yet Warren Moon with a great catch in the end zone by Padre Ismail got the touchdown to give them the lead. 14-7. Well, it's time to do some digging in.
I don't know if digging in. I think it's time to attack. I mean, but get back to what you planned on doing. Get your game plan together and start operating. Do the things that got you here, that made you 3-0. And that's playing mistake-free football. And right now, if you look at the yardage, the Packer defense pretty well dominated the Viking offense. They gave up a couple plays after turnovers.
All right, the kickoff by Craig Hendrick. Again, from my right to my left to the Minnesota Vikings to start the second half. Hendrick with a high floater. This is not going to go very deep at all. It is taken over on the far side of the field. That's Amp Lee. He starts looking for places to run, and he'll go down at about the 27-yard line. He stood, and if you're a kickoff man, when you stand and look, you're not going to go very far.
No, you better take off. There's too many guys zeroing in on you. That time they got him, but they still got fairly good field position because the kick was not very deep.
Ball's at the 27-yard line. Warren Moon comes out. Warren Moon 8 out of 16 for 82 yards. 2 touchdown passes, however, by Warren Moon in this ballgame. He'll have a first down at the 27-yard line. Robert Smith, the running back, 11 carries, only 8 yards for Robert Smith so far in the ballgame. First down play for the Minnesota Vikings from the 27. Handoff goes to Robert Smith, tries to break a hole and does, and bounces out his best run of the day to the 35-yard line. He was hit at the point of attack at about the 29-yard line, but they ran through Gilbert Brown and the defense there, and he gets out to the 35 for a gain of 7, almost 8 yards on the play.
Like we talked during the first half, the Packer defensive linemen not getting driven off the ball, but not shedding their blocks either.
Second down, 2 yards to go, Minnesota at their own 35-yard line. Early in the third quarter, 14-7, Minnesota. Man in motion to the near side is Charles Evans. Here's the ride and handoff to Robert Smith, and only a yard this time as he tried to find a little hole, and that hole was blocked up, and the entire interior defensive unit of the Packers falls on him at about the 36, where it becomes 3rd down and 1. They'll bring in Greg DeLong as a second tight end to block and take out Charles Evans. Now then, can Minnesota make a yard on 3rd down and a yard?
They're not afraid to use Warren Moon in these situations. He's gone twice on quarterback sneaks and made it both times.
So 3rd down and a yard for Minnesota. A late arrival has to back off for the Packers. He was coming onto the field. The Packers were going to make a change, and that's happened all day long. Changes that come late. Here's Warren Moon on 3rd down and short. Fakes the ball, now throws long upfield, and it is caught by Jake Reed. No, they ruled it a catch at the 48-yard line. Reed catches the ball, apparently spun out on the play by the defender for the Green Bay Packers.
Well, they have to call it that because his feet did not come down both feet inside the line, so he must have got a break by the official by virtue of being pushed out.
Well, we'll watch and see. It's hard to see on our monitor because it's up high. No, that's a different play. Now, there it is.
He did get them both.
He got them down.
Yeah, I was looking for own foot.
Ball is at the 47-yard line, and Minnesota in an attacking position, the Packer 47-yard line with a first down. Moon out of an I formation this time with DeLong the up back, and Moon back to throw deep. He looks, comes up over the middle. The ball is tipped and caught on nonetheless for a first down at the 27. The ball was tipped, and Jake Reed stayed with the tip and brought the ball down. And a first down for Minnesota inside the Packer 30 at the 26-yard line.
I'll tell you, that's a finer reaction you'll ever see from a receiver, Jim. Very seldom can you ever adjust your hands on a tip ball, and he was right there and made the play.
The ball was tipped by George Kuntz, who made a fine play to tip the ball, but Reed stayed with it for the first down. So Minnesota on the move, coming out of the locker room. 14-7 Minnesota.
Packers going to 6 defensive backs now.
First down at the 26. Here is Moon waiting, and the ride and the handoff to Robert Smith, trying to slide to the outside, comes back against the grain, still spinning, and then gets knocked down hard at about the 22-yard line. See, was that Eugene Robinson? No, that was Brian Williams. No, Craig Newsom, beg your pardon, 21, who came in to make the play. We had 3 ones on the uniform, and it turned out to be 21, Craig Newsom.
You know, this opening drive of a half, no matter what side of the ball you're on, is critical, sets the tone and so forth. And so far, the Vikings have put together the most impressive sustained drive of the game.
So it will be a second down and about 6 yards to go. Here's the ride and the handoff, this time to Amp Lee, who tries to spin, and he gets only the 20-yard line for about a yard.
Santana Dotson doing a real fine job, shedding a block, making the play.
Amp Lee is now in his 5th year out of Florida State, 5'11", 206 pounds. So it's going to be third down, 3.5 yards to go for the first down for Minnesota. Even a field goal seems to be big in this ball game at this stage. By the way, the 49ers have scored to make it a 20-7 ball game now in favor of Carolina down in Carolina today. Third down, big play for the Packers defensively. Warren Moon with a single running back in Amp Lee. Back he goes to pass. He's got a man open, throws, was it caught or not? Yes. Ruled a catch on a great play by Chris Carter out on the left flat for a first down at the Packer 15-yard line.
That's what Chris Carter has done over the years here. He's the greatest third down receiver probably in football today.
Give credit to the Vikings on a play like that. Warren Moon threw it to the only spot he could and complete the ball, and Chris Carter made a fantastic grab.
Well, he's a great player. There's no question about the abilities of Chris Carter. And he catches the ball down at the 15-yard line. First down, Minnesota.
Actually, pretty good coverage by Doug Evans.
Yeah, couldn't be much better than that. First down, Warren Moon's got too much time to throw. Here's Boone on a play-action fake. Rolls to the right and throws a screen over to the right. Was it caught or not? No, it was dropped by Greg DeLong. And Craig Newsom came up and hit him hard as he tried to reach down and make that catch.
That play looked familiar. The Packers run it a lot, that little drag play where they leave the defensive end unblocked and toss it over them.
So it's going to be second down. The ball at the 16-yard line. Second down and 10 to go for Minnesota. We have used up we've used up 4.5 minutes of the third quarter. 14-7 Minnesota. High formation. Evans is the blocking back. Into the left side goes DeLong. Here is Warren Moon. Fakes the pitch out, then does go with it delayed to Smith. And Smith is going to be ridden out by Wayne Simmons at about the line of scrimmage. Well, that was an interesting play. He faked the pitch and then went ahead and threw the pitch.
You know, I don't think he faked it, John. I think he meant to pitch it and didn't see the runner, and so he kind of pulled it back.
Okay, well, anyway, he got it out there. No gain on the play. Third down again.
Packers going with their stacked defense where all the linebackers are inside the tackles and so forth. It's a great pursuit-type defense.
Well, here we go. Third down one more time for Warren Moon. He's at the 15-yard line of the Packers. They've been to third down. This is the third time on this drive. They converted the other two, obviously. Here's Moon waiting for the snap. Moon back in the pocket and again with protection. Turns, fires it upfield, broken up. He threw it into a heavy coverage that time, but he threw it to the outside, down around the goal line. May have been intended, and Ishmael and Chris Carter saying, are we both supposed to be here? And maybe they weren't.
Chris Carter was intended for, and just fine defensive play by Doug Evans.
So it'll be a fourth down play, and Scott Sissons will have to kick it for Minnesota. He is 5 out of 7. His long is 34, and this is a 35-yarder by Scott Sissons. I like saying that word, Sissons. Scott Sissons.
Sissons.
Yes. Here is the try
Sounds like a hairspray
for the field goal by the Minnesota Vikings, who lead 14-7. The ball is down. The kick is on the way, and the kick is up, and it is good. He made it. Not by a lot, but he made it. And it's 17-7. Back after this word from your local station on the Packer Radio Network. Sponsors of the Super America Super Kickoff Contest, where you can win $6,200. Packers had a great opportunity at the close of the first half, unable to score. Now they find themselves down 10 points. Here's Berger on the kickoff. Berger drives this one deep. Well done. Beebe deep is not going to be able to come out of there. He's about 7 or 8 yards deep, and the Packers will have to take over at the 20-yard line. So a first down for Green Bay. Got to reestablish something. We're going to take a break right now. I believe we are going to have a timeout on the field. It is we'll get the ball at their own 20-yard line, trading 17-7 in this contest against the Minnesota Vikings. They really haven't given up much yardage to Minnesota, but what they haven't done is move it themselves. They're going to have to do that now. Did they make a change of tackle?
No, they didn't. Gary Brown's still in the ball game, and something they could do is leave him in, but give him some help. Let him get his confidence back.
All right, first down at the 20-yard line for Green Bay. They have 3 wide receivers on the first play from scrimmage. Here's Brett Favre, straight back in the pocket. Looking, comes up over the middle to Beebe. Beebe to the 30. Beebe to the 35, to the 40, 45, to the 50, to the 40. He's inside. He's looking for a touchdown. Don Beebe is going to go the route to the Green Bay Packers, and he does. Don Beebe on an 80-yard touchdown pass that covered 5 yards, and Beebe runs it into the end zone for a touchdown.
I couldn't have been any more simple, Jim. A little hook. He threw it. He spun outside, outran the whole Viking team. What a play.
I think something that goes underappreciated is Don Beebe can fly, and what a move he put on early on Dwayne Washington.
What? It was no contest.
You know what? I'm amazed the way he ran. He just took off, and he's one of the older guys.
The West Coast offense at its best. Throw short and run real long.
And that adds to Brett's statistics nicely. 9:18 to go here in the third quarter. Don Beebe just took off. He got a little block from Antonio Freeman, but Antonio wanted to be careful and make sure that he didn't commit a penalty. The kick is good, and that makes it a 17-14 ball game in favor of the Green Bay Packers. And let's see, do the officials rule that we have a timeout? We do. We'll take a break back after this on the Packer Radio Network.
You just gotta go, must go, can't wait, can't stop, must keep moving.
Well, lightning strikes for Don Beebe. It also strikes for our Bud Packer payoff contestant here in the third quarter, Alan Gravel. So here is the kickoff by Craig Gentry. This is a liner that is going to go to about the 5-yard line. Taken there. And upfield goes Kadre Ishmael to about the 25, maybe the 26-yard line, and a late flag thrown by the official. And he's going to throw it back at the 23-yard line, which, if it's against Minnesota, would move them backwards down to about the 13. By the way, got a note from Jeff Karnowski, who used to work at WTMJ Television in Milwaukee, now works here in Minnesota as a CBS News producer. Wants to say hello to all of his family back in the state of Wisconsin. So it's holding against Minnesota. Suddenly, everything going Minnesota's way has changed in 2 plays.
Called momentum.
Yeah,
I think that's what they call it in the textbook.
Don Beebe with his first touchdown catch of the season for the Packers and for Beebe. He had caught just one pass prior to that for Green Bay. So make the most of what you get.
I'll tell you, he did. He made a beautiful run, and it was such a simple play. Nobody around him, but once he got by that first guy, nobody could catch him.
Let me correct myself. He caught one earlier, so that was his third catch as a member of the Packers. First down at the 13, Minnesota. Here is Warren Moon. Moon goes straight back in the pocket. He's looking for some yardage over the middle. It is caught by Evans. Evans at about the 17, 18-yard line, and a gain on the play of about 5 or 6.
Well, with 3 catches, Beebe's average per catch has got to be the best in the league, huh?
I would think it's close to the top. Ball is out to the 19-yard line. It'll be a 2nd down and 5 for Minnesota.
Because he had a big gainer against the Chargers last week.
Crowd kind of settling back because they've been so high here in the last couple of minutes.
I'll tell you,
they need to rest a little bit.
Nothing takes the starch out of the opponents when you come back with one like that.
2nd down at about 5 for Warren Moon and the Minnesota Vikings. Here's Moon back in the pocket. He's getting great protection. Comes upfield. Is caught by Chris Carter, and he's dragged down after a first down at the 28-yard line. Chris Carter brought down at about the 28, but enough for a first down. And Warren Moon, quick rhythm patterns right now, Max, to get him some time to throw the ball.
Sean Jones was coming around that corner so fast, he had to throw it quick, Jim, or Sean would have had him.
So Chris Carter gives Minnesota a first down. 17-14 ball game, 8:05 to go in the third quarter in favor of the Minnesota Vikings. First down, the ball resting at the 28-yard line in Minnesota territory. Here's Moon waiting a long time. Moon on the ride, and the handoff to Smith, who tries to cut back, and he's going to be knocked down for about a loss of a yard or 2. He tried to go into the pile and bounce off of it, but it appeared Brian Williams got in and kind of held him down.
That's right. A real fine job by number 1, Sean Jones, holding the point of attack, and number 2, Brian Williams, playing it aggressively and attacking that line of scrimmage.
Kohl's Department Stores, your headquarters for great Packer merchandise, jackets, sweatshirts, jerseys, and hats. If you're a Packer fan, we'll make it worth your while at Kohl's. That's more like it.
Robert Smith is averaging just over 1.5 yards per carry, if that much.
2nd down and about 11 to go for Minnesota. Single running back this time for Warren Moon. Play action fake. Here they come after him. Moon is dumping the ball off incomplete. He had to dump it because Reggie was in his face, pushing him backwards. He tried to hit Amp Lee out here on a little screen, but he just didn't have time to set it up.
Boy, he didn't. He wasn't looking for Amp Lee. That was kind of an after-the-fact deal, but in fact, it didn't work.
Reggie White running over 353 pounds of Corey Stringer. That's scary.
You know what I saw? A Wisconsin lineman. He's what, 360, something like that? You know, if you just can stand up, you block off a lot of people, don't you, in a case like that?
Well, it takes a while for him to run around you.
It's going to be 3rd down and 11 for Minnesota.
Reggie did the next best thing. He ran over him.
Yeah. Out of the shotgun go the Minnesota Vikings on 3rd and 11. Waiting for the snap. The Packers are coming. Back goes Warren Moon. He got some protection. The ball is caught out here at the 50-yard line. Craig Newsom got turned around by Kadre Ishmael. No, let's see. I'm waiting to see who caught the ball for Minnesota. It was Chris Reed. It's Jake Reed who turned him around. Reed has had a great day and a big play for Minnesota right there. It appeared that Newsom may have fallen down on the play. He certainly was nowhere near the receiver, and if he doesn't slide out of bounds, he might have gotten a lot of yardage out of the play. First down, Minnesota midfield. Minnesota starting to move the ball against the Packers now. That was a great catch by Jake Reed. Not a real good throw by Warren Moon. Moon on first down, and they're going to go with a flea flicker. Moon throws it downfield, and it's incomplete. Intended for Chris Carter on the flea flicker, thrown back to Robert Smith, who hit into the line, then turned around and flipped it back to Warren Moon. And there was coverage on Chris Carter on the play.
And, well, they did catch Craig Newsom looking. He caught with the flea. He went with the flea. They got a step on him. Ball was underthrown.
6:36 remaining in the third quarter.
Yeah, Chris Carter, believe it or not, he's caught passes like this before. He almost got that one.
Well, Newsom tried to make up for it, got back just as the ball went over his head. Third down,
ball. That thing's complete.
Second down and 10, Minnesota at midfield. They lead 17-14. Warren Moon waiting for the snap from center. Moon straight back in the pocket. Here they come. And they got him by the legs, but he gets the ball off this time to Ishmael. No, that's Amp Lee on the sidelines. The safety valve out of bounds at the 44. Amp Lee, the safety valve. They just couldn't knock Warren Moon down. They got a hand on him, but it was too low and couldn't get him down on the play.
Warren Moon made a great play there, Jim. They had him. They actually had him by the leg when he threw that thing all the way across the field, and it turned a loss into a 7-yard gain.
Sean Jones applying the pressure. And in a situation like that, I think you've got to give Moon credit for some courage. You can feel that guy right there, and he still completes the pass.
Here's another big third down play, and Minnesota has converted a lot of these today. Third down at the 43.5-yard line of the Packers. Here's Warren Moon waiting. Moon straight back in the pocket. Here comes Reggie. He flips it off to the right side. I believe they have a first down at the 39. It is caught on the right side by Amp Lee. And Reggie's taking himself out of the ballgame. What's Reggie doing over on the sideline? I think Reggie thought that, well, he's taking himself out of the ballgame. Reggie comes out, and Shannon Clavel will come in to replace him. We'll keep an eye on Reggie over on that far side to see why he took himself out of the game. I thought he thought maybe there had been a penalty on the play. First down, Minnesota at the Packer 39-yard line now.
No, he's talking.
On the ride, there's Robert Smith with a hole, and he gets to the 35, a gain of about 4 quick yards. Gain of 4 for Minnesota. You watching Reggie? What was that?
He was talking to one of the trainers, Jim, about possibly the equipment and our physical problems.
Well, he's on the sidelines, and nobody is attending to him now, so that's a good sign. So it's going to be second down. They'll give him 3 yards on the play, 2nd and 7 for Minnesota.
Packers have both their backup defensive ends in the game, Shannon Clavel and Gabe Wilkins, and it showed on that last Viking play. Gabe Wilkins getting blocked.
Minnesota dominating this third quarter. The Packers have had 1 play from scrimmage. It scored, however. Here's Moon being chased out of the pocket by Williams, and he gets the ball upfield to Jordan at the 30-yard line, close to a first down. Ryan Williams on the blitz, and somehow Warren Moon found Andrew Jordan, the tight end. Only his 4th catch of the year down at the 30. It is third down and a yard, Minnesota.
I'll tell you, for a 40-year-old quarterback, you're seeing a lot of courage here today. He's thrown the last 3 passes with somebody either hanging on or about to hit him. Warren Moon's really making a showing for himself.
Downfield, Roy Butler shadowing the movements of Moon, and Andrew Jordan be able to slip right behind him.
They send Chris Carter off to the left. Here's a big 3rd and 1 for Minnesota at the Packer 30-yard line. Warren Moon waits for the snap from center. Moon goes with a short drop back. Moon with a little lofting pass. Picked off. Intercepted by George Coots at the 40, the 50, the 45. George down the sidelines. Did he step out of bounds? No. It will be a touchdown for the Green Bay Packers on the grab by George Coots on the interception.
What a run by Coots. Warren Moon was the last guy that had a shot at it. He made a great effort, but couldn't get Coots and went all the way.
Second ball, George's touch today. He tipped one earlier. This time he made the grab.
It is a touchdown return, and it has to be about 80 yards. We'll get an official number for you. It looked as if Coots might have stepped out somewhere around the 40-yard line. But 2 big plays by the Packers. We'll take a look and watch. Here's Coots, who picks it off at the 24-yard line. Then he takes off down the sidelines. We'll keep a close watch on him. He is being attacked by Warren Moon, and he did not step out. No. Great play by Coots to get the touchdown. 77 yards officially, and the Packers have taken the lead in the ballgame. Here is Chris Jackie to try the extra point. The ball is down. The kick is on the way. The kick is good. 21-17, the Packers. Back after this from your local station on the Packer Radio Network.
Meyer International Trucks in Cameron has a permanent full-time position on each shift for 2 dependable medium and heavy truck technicians.
Midwest Airlines wants to take this opportunity to salute Travel Dynamics, their partner in travel. Midwest Express Airlines, the best care in the air, the official airline of the Green Bay Packer Radio Network. Max, we said the Packers had to come out and establish something. They haven't done that, and yet they have scored 14 points in the game.
That's the quickest 14 they've had in a long time, Jim. And I'll tell you, it changed this ball game. It really quietened this crowd. That was quite a deal by Coots.
Like the old coach said, players play.
Packers have had one play from scrimmage here in the third quarter, and yet have gone in front 21-17. Here's the ball taken by Quadre Ishmael at the 3. Looks to get around, and now he reverses. He's in trouble.
He made it tackle.
And he's going to go down at about the 17. Somebody went to the ground for the Packers, got up, and made the tackle for Green Bay.
It was Corey Dowden. Again, he came down and amply just smacks him one. Dowden gets up, makes the play.
Well, we're going to take a break. Back after this. It's the Packer Radio Network. Tour offers you an opportunity to buy Designer Series windows and get the exclusive between glass shades and wood dividers free. Only from Verhalen, your Pella window store. By the way, our Bud Packer payoff contestant did call Alan Gravel of Milwaukee, Wisconsin. He wins $620. Well, he ought to. He had 2 chances, right?
I was going to say, don't want it twice. He didn't call the first time.
No. Next, don't cause trouble. Whatever you do. It comes out of somebody's paycheck. First down at the 18-yard line, Minnesota in their own territory. In the backfield, Evans and Robert Smith for the Minnesota Vikings. They trail 21-17. Warren Moon on the ride and the handoff, and cutting back is Robert Smith across the 20 to about the 22, and then he gets ridden down on the play by Craig Newsom after a gain of about 5 yards. Clock is at 3:35 to go here in the third quarter, at a ball game that ought to have a well-rested quarterback for the Green Bay Packers, Brett Favre, because he's had one play so far in the quarter.
Warren Moon, count, though.
Warren Moon might be getting tired. I don't know. Washington 17, St. Louis 3. Washington is starting to gain some respect around the league. Second down and 6 for Minnesota. Evans goes in motion to the outside. Moon almost dropped that ball. They give it to Smith, and he spins right into the heart of the Packer defense and goes down at about the 23-yard line.
Real good job by Gilbert Brown defeating Jeff Christie, the Viking center. Just one-on-one, just defeated and made the play.
Well, the interesting thing, Max, they're not going away from their game plan. They don't feel any panic on the part of the Minnesota Vikings.
Well, not when you're within 3 points, really. There's no reason to change anything. Actually, the Vikings have played pretty good. The Packers have played unbelievable this half with 2 big super plays.
Minnesota's had 22 plays from scrimmage this quarter, and the Packers won.
No, they've actually controlled the action, but big plays win.
All right, it is going to be a third down and about 5 for Minnesota. Out of the shotgun, Warren Moon and everybody moving for Minnesota. Sean Jones had the left tackle, Todd Stussy, trying to set up a little quick on that play, and so that'll cost him 5 yards. Minnesota has converted a lot of third down plays, but one third down play they didn't convert on a 3rd and 1 turned out to be a 77-yard return by George Kuhn. I think George likes the middle linebacker spot.
You know, that return, that interception was very much alike Leroy Butler's. Thrown to the outside guy, the inside defender steps in. Quarterback probably never thrown.
I saw Ray Nitzke run one like that down in New Orleans one time back for a touchdown at the old Tulane Stadium.
Really? He would have had a heart attack running.
Well, he was limping by the time he got there, but he did it. Third down and 10. Minnesota back this time at the 18-yard line. And again, Warren Moon this time goes from under center. He waits for the snap. Moon goes straight back in the pocket. Here they come after him. He fires long upfield, and it is broken up. Oh, great help by Mike Pryor, who came over. The ball intended for Quadre Ishmael, and Pryor made a great play because Newsom was about a half step behind, making contact, but Pryor knocked the ball away.
And I'm surprised Ishmael got up, Jim. What a hit they laid on him. If you watch this replay here, I was worried that it might have been something real bad happened here, but this was quite a hit.
Actually, Newsom had stripped it before Pryor got there, so Newsom made the play himself. Nice play by Craig Newsom.
I'll tell you, put the Packers with good field position here if they can bring this punt back a little way.
And Desmond Howard waits. Mitch Berger is going to do the kicking. He gets a good snap from center. Here is the kick. Whoa. And it is a high floater that Desmond Howard is going to take at the 32, to the 35, outside to the 40, to the 45, and out of bounds at the 47-yard line. So that is good field position. And the Packers take over at the 47 with 1:59 to go in the quarter. Our ball game today brought to you by State Farm Insurance, the State Farm agents throughout Wisconsin. For all your family insurance needs, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. By the way, this is the first of 3 straight on the road. Next week, we are in Seattle with a 3 o'clock start to that ball game, and the following week down in Chicago to take on the Chicago Bears in Game 3 of this road trip, and then it's an easy ride back home to take on the San Francisco 49ers. Doesn't get any easier, does it?
No, not on this schedule, Jim. But the main thing is just keep beating these division opponents
21-17, but the Packers have not proven they can run the ball on offense yet or handle the ball offensively. Here's Brett Favre, and the handoff goes to Edgar Bennett to the 50, and it bounces out to about the 48-yard line, and a gain of 4 yards on the play. Today's game brought to you by Aaron's Outdoor Power Equipment at your local Aaron's dealer. Aaron's, the best from start to finish. Go ahead. I was going to say what helps here is you can now run the ball.
Yeah, the lead enables you to do that, and also what enables you to do that is just good execution. Good classic lead play right there. Aaron Taylor and Frankie Winters taking care of the nose. William Henderson doing the lead blocking.
So it is going to be a second down. Let's call it 6 yards to go for the Packers at about the 48-yard line in Minnesota territory. In motion goes Chimera to the right side. Here's the handoff. Bennett cuts inside one of the tackles and gets down to only the 46. That's a gain of a couple of yards. It'll be third down and about 5 for the Packers. So they were trying to make the running game go, but they come to a passing down with 1:07 remaining in the quarter. This game's action brought to you by Polaris Snowmobile, ATV, and personal watercraft dealers. For outdoor fun before and after the snow, see your Polaris dealer. Big play. You need to keep the drive going, Max. Let the defensive people rest a little bit. Perhaps get you a score.
I just tend to stick to all these weird plays. This has been a game of weird plays.
Got a pass block. Third down for Brett Favre. Here's Brett back in the pocket. Here they come. He got away from one guy, and down he goes. Nobody touched number 91 on the right side for the Minnesota Vikings.
We had an assignment error that time. Gary Brown came inside. Martin Harrison was unblocked. Now, who made the assignment error? I don't have a copy of the playbook, but they should not leave him flat out unblocked like that.
See, Minnesota still has the upper hand on the Packer offense in this ball game, even though they trail in the contest. Martin Harrison, 6'5", 251, in his 6th year out of Washington, is the man who made the play. And Craig Hendrick's going to have to kick it off to David Palmer.
That was a mental mistake, Jim. Just a mental mistake.
Here's the punt. Look at this by
kick.
Hendrick. He hangs it up again. David Palmer says, I'm getting out of the way. The ball bounces at the 5, and the ball is saved by the Packers at the 1. Saved on a great play downfield. Is that
Travis Derby? That's BB, wasn't it? Or
Travis Derby. Put it back. Lamont Hollenquist made the catch.
Who threw it back, and it is caught at the 1. Minnesota takes over at the 1 with 8 seconds to go in the third quarter, and the special teams continue to perform well for the Packers. But Jerby just didn't give up on the ball. He saw it coming down. He took it to the end. He got blocked, went to the end zone, caught the ball in the air, and threw it before he touched the ground.
I guess the plane of the ball going over the goal line does not count. I guess it has to touch somewhere in the end zone because he was beyond the goal line.
Great play by Jerby, but a greater kick by Craig Hendrick.
Oh, yeah,
that was perfect.
Terrific kick. You're right about that. So it is going to be a ball down at the 1-yard line with 8 seconds to go in the quarter for Warren Moon.
How about a safety?
Moon waits. Moon goes back to throw on first down, which is not a bad play. Loops it to the outside. Almost picked off, but there is a tag on the play. Who pushed whom is the question. It was intended for Jake Reed, and it's pass interference on somebody. Apparently it's on Minnesota.
He must have pushed off.
Well, they're going to lose a half a yard. I would decline the penalty.
Absolutely.
That'd be the thing to do, just decline the penalty.
Pass interference by the offense. Number 86. The penalty is declined.
That's what they did. Boy, it's wonderful when they're as smart as I am.
You know, it amazes me sometimes.
What a challenge.
I did to you, you know it. Oh, my goodness.
Talk about scaling the heights.
So it'll be second down and 10 for Minnesota. 4 seconds remain. And that was a good move. Minnesota knows it's going to have to throw the ball out of that end zone. And the Packers almost picked that baby off. Second down for Minnesota and 10. Warren Moon waits for the snap from center. Warren with a staggered count back in the end zone to throw, and in pressure, and it's dropped by Ishmael. No, that's Ampli at about the 2-yard line.
Sean Jones drops Todd Stussy right in Warren Moon's lap, too.
It'll be the end of the quarter. The Packers lead 21-17. Back after this on the Packer Radio Network.
Okay, timeout for important news from another great team in Wisconsin, the Kelly Tires and your Pella window store soon. And remember, quality like this only comes from Pella.
For exciting window and door ideas, stop by the Pella Window Store in Eau Claire at 2540 South Hastings Highway or call 1-800-472-4232.
WJMC's Dick Keener, weekday mornings at 5 a.m. For more than 30 years, Northwest Wisconsin's early morning favorite here on the one you turn to, WJMC.
4th and 10 at the 1 for Minnesota, their own 1. Warren Moon has been getting heavy pressure in this series. Here's Moon back in the pocket. Moon looking. Moon throws the ball upfield. Oh, he got a man open. What a great throw to Jake Reed at a first down at the 19-yard line. Great play by Warren Moon, and the Packers on a key play could not get to it.
Santana Dotson right in his face. Just a great play by Warren Moon.
You got to really admire what Warren Moon has done here today.
No doubt about it, Jim. He was back there. If he had taken one more step backwards, it would have been a safety, but he knew exactly where he was to a perfect pass.
We're in the 4th quarter. The Packers lead at 21-17. Chris Carter splits out right. Doug Evans on him. First down, Minnesota. Working room now at the 20-yard line. Man in motion to the near side is Charles Evans. Back to throw. Moon just dumps it over the middle to Jordan. Jordan out to the 30, 33-yard line. So they give him a little time, and Warren Moon with some space starts working his magic again. Moon is now 19 out of 36 in the ballgame.
Yeah, he didn't look at Jordan, the tight end, very often, but when he does, he's usually open.
So it'll be a first down for Minnesota again on 2 successive plays to the 32, 33-yard line. The Packers have been on the field defensively an awful lot here in the second half of the ballgame. Almost totally. First down, Minnesota at their own 32-yard line. They trail by 4. Here's Warren Moon. Moon on the right, and the handoff to Robert Smith, trying to get against the grain. Does get outside and gets maybe 4 or 5 yards out to about the 38-yard line. Robert Smith has quick feet. He can really make that sideways move very quickly. By the way, it's time for the Milwaukee Pickles Packers Crunch Time. When it's crunch time at your house, remember Milwaukee Pickles. They're Wisconsin's hometown favorite, and they have a delicious crunch you'll enjoy. Milwaukee's Pickles, the biggest little pickles in Wisconsin, are available at your favorite grocers. And Jeannie Weber of Fond du Lac is our Bud Packer payoff contestant here in the 4th quarter as well. So we got a lot going on here in the 4th quarter. Second down at about 3. Handoff to Robert Smith to the outside. Caught from behind, but he got away and gets out to the 41. Almost caught by the charge of Sean Jones, I believe it was.
Gabe Wilkins.
Gabe Wilkins,
okay.
for him. Reggie's taking himself out on a 3rd down now, and about 4 to go for Minnesota. Now they're going to mark it at the 41, make it a 3rd down and 2 for Minnesota. 3rd and 2 at the 41-yard line. Minnesota trailing 21-17, and we are 2.5 minutes into the 4th quarter of the game.
Packers going with 6 defensive backs, 1 linebacker, Wayne Simmons.
Moon sends a man in motion to the right. That's Jordan, who lines up as his wing on the right side, and Warren rolls to the right to throw. Now he steps back and wants to run. He got away from a man. He's going to run for a first down and does. Hit by Mike Pryor, but he got the first down at the 44. Pryor brought him down, but doggone it, Warren Moon made a big play. He had no place to go to the right and had enough speed at age 41 to come back left for a first down.
Well, he was outrunning 350 pounds worth of Gilbert Brown.
Good play by Warren Moon. Keeps the drive alive for Minnesota. Packers have to bring some fresh troops in defensively. Clock is running at 11:54 to go in the ball game. 21-17 Green Bay. A first down at the 44, Minnesota. Hard to get the ball away from them.
Shannon Clavell in for Reggie now. Sean Jones back in the game.
First down for Warren Moon at the 44. The ride and the handoff to Robert Smith. Tried to break the plane and gets knocked down at about the 46-yard line, and perhaps a gain of a yard or 2 on the play. Dean Foods has been providing Packer fans with quality dairy and ice cream products for over 70 years. Dean's Milk and Ice Cream. You can taste how much we care.
Darius Holland also in the game, and that time he did a fine job just destroying the blocker, making the play.
Well, they've had to go to some backup people because they've been on the field so long here in the second half. Second down, 9 for Minnesota. Got a wingback on the left side for Minnesota and 2 wide receivers. And now that wingback, Evans, goes in motion to the right. Moon fakes a pump. Now wants to throw it down the sideline. He's got a man open, and it is caught by Chris Carter at the 20-yard line. Chris Carter on a perfect throw by Warren Moon. There was double coverage, and yet he got the ball into Carter.
They had a man on each side of him, Jim, and yet Warren Moon dropped it in between them. Chris Carter is known for making those great catches. He caught another one.
Yeah, I thought the Packers played that very poorly. Craig Newsome and Eugene Robinson, because the ball wasn't perfect. It wasn't on the money. Chris Carter made a great catch, but the Packers, I think, played it very poorly.
Yeah, when the ball's in the air that long, you've got to adjust to the ball, and as you say, Newsome has just...
Chris Carter had to slow up to get it.
Newsom kind of gave up trying to leap instead of running to the ball. That may have been the problem. First down at the 20, Minnesota. Here's Warren Moon, flag on the play, and the handoff goes to Robert Smith, and he's thrown for a yard loss.
That time they were trying to trap Reggie White, but Darius Holland got such great penetration, no dice on the play.
That was illegal procedure on the part of Minnesota, so the play will be a no play, and it'll move back to the 25. I think it'll be a no play, but they're asking the Packers, do you want the play or the penalty? It would be a loss of a yard if that is the case.
What should they do? You've been betting 100%.
Illegal shift by the offense. The man in motion and number 80. They're moving at the same time. 5-yard penalty, repeat first down.
Well, they're going to take the 5 yards and move him back to the 25. Well, this is a dangerous situation. 10-11 left in the game. Packer defense has been on the field so long in the second half, and you wonder if they can survive the rest of this ballgame. That's the problem.
I doubt if they're even tired.
First down at the 25 and 15 for Minnesota. Warren Moon, the quarterback. He's trailing by 4. Here's Moon waiting. He goes straight back in the pocket.
Oh, is he hit by Leroy Butler? The ball free, picked up by the Packers, and then thrown away. Who got the ball? The ball is at about the 38-yard line, and it is the Packers' ball, I believe. Oh, what a terrible mistake the Packers made.
That was Reggie White who made that lateral, Jim. Not a real smart play.
Fantastic play by Leroy Butler. He caused the fumble, flipped it to Reggie, and recovered the fumble on the other side.
Reggie has got to keep the ball, but the Packers get it at the 37, and we'll get a timeout, I believe. Let's check with the official. First down, the Packers. Have they signaled a timeout yet or not? The officials have not done that. Boy, you just got to protect that ball. Reggie picked it up. Reggie knew he couldn't run. He tried to toss it outside, and Amp Lee really almost came up with a big play for Minnesota.
I think Reggie will get a little soft-spoken speech on that one.
Well, don't get on him too harshly. I believe we have a timeout. We'll take a break back after this on the Packer Radio Network.
Here's the sound of Marilyn paying with cash.
I know I had another $5 in my purse.
Ma'am, I'll put this merchant...
By Leroy Butler, that means another $50 contribution to the Mac Fund from Budweiser, the king of beers, who remind you friends know when to say when. Mac Fund is Midwest Athletes Against Childhood Cancer. For those of you listening on our lines around the world here today, what a ball game we've had for you. 21-17, the Packers. Strange happenings. And, Larry, you make a point. It's too close. It's in a position for something strange to decide the game.
It's still at the point where a screwball play could beat you.
All right, first down for the Packers at their own 37-yard line. Here's Brett Favre on first down, rolling out of the pocket. Being chased from behind. Brett goes up the sidelines. Brett runs out of bounds at the 40-yard line after a gain of about 3. He did not want to take a chance on throwing the football. I'm looking, and I think they were trying to do this that time, on getting the tight end open downfield. And that time it was Keith Jackson who was trying to get open. They just couldn't get it to him. Did that make any sense to you?
Yes.
Okay,
I was watching a replay here, and I wasn't listening very close, but...
Well, it probably wasn't worth it. Second down.
You made perfect sense, Joe.
Still nothing happening offensively for the Packers here in the second half. We're down to 9:29. Here's Brett back to throw it again. A screen off to Edgar Bennett. Cuts inside one man and goes to the 43. Only a gain of about 4 yards. And again, while that was a screen, Brett may have had to throw that a little quicker than everything wanted to be developed for him outside.
Well, that was a quick screen, Jim. Which
that's why they threw it quick.
Yeah, that's where the linemen immediately go out there. They don't delay their block. A quick screen, a little different play, but almost worked.
Packers have only one first down in this second half. That was the touchdown pass to Don Beebe.
No, they've been doing it with big, big plays.
Jackson goes out of the lineup for the Packers. Chimera comes in. You need a first down. You need 4, almost 5 yards for the first down. Here's Brett Favre. He sends a man in motion. That's Chimera out of the backfield. Favre back to throw. A delay. Now Brett dumps it off to the right side. They did not get the first down. Did not get it. He had to dump the ball off, and he did that to Dorsey Levens, who's been very inactive today. Hasn't done much. And Minnesota's got an injured player down. He fell on Brett Favre.
Fernando Smith.
Smith is down for Minnesota. And we're going to get a timeout on the field. We will take a break while they tend to him. Back after this on the Packer Radio Network.
Pour on the savings with a visit to Gateway Warehouse Outlet in Ladysmith. Kraft Handy Snacks, 99 cents. So-Dry paper towels, 2 for $1. Kraft macaroni and cheese, 3 for $1. 25.
About this ball game, Max McGee, because you cannot move it offensively, which means you are 3 plays and out every time you get the ball.
That's true, but thank goodness the defense is playing very well. Most of the scores today have been on unique, unusual type deals. The defense has played great.
Hendrick is going to do the kicking for the Packers, waiting for the snap from center. That's a low one. Bounce back to him and gets it away. Great play by Hendrick, who fielded the ball. Palmer gets out of the way, and it goes out of bounds. They're going to get a good marking on the ball. It's going to go out of bounds. They're coming up the sidelines to the 20-yard line.
Mark Chamuro's doing the snapping for Craig Hendrick, and sometimes on turf, that ball can slip. A lot different than natural grass when you're snapping. Can cause a problem.
They decide to take another timeout. So will we. Back after this on the Packer Radio Network. Roy Butler, he takes the first down at the 20-yard line. He trails 21-17 with 8:08 remaining in the ballgame. First down, Minnesota Vikings. Single running back for the Vikings in Amp Lee, who's a good receiver. Here's Warren Moon on the first down play. Back to throw. Here they come after him. He sets the screen off to the right. Caught at the 20-yard line, and they step up past a defender out to about the 33, and Amp Lee goes down at the 34-yard line. Screen play, well executed by Warren Moon, because the Packers have been coming hard at him. And he throws a little screen, and again, Minnesota goes right back to moving the ball.
John Randall out there to block Mike Pryor. Mike Pryor didn't want to take him on. He guessed one way, and it was the wrong way. Good running on the play.
First down, Minnesota at the 34.
Amp Lee is not a slouch as a runner, Jim. We've known him for quite a few years. He's an excellent runner.
First down, Minnesota at the 34-yard line in their own territory. They need a touchdown to take the lead. Warren Moon with the first down sends a man in motion to the right in Charles Evans. Here is Moon back on a double pump, comes to the right side, and diving back to catch it is the receiver, Kadre Ishmael. Well, he's played well today. And he caught that ball for a gain of about 3, and it was a very difficult ball to catch. The clock continues to run at 7:10 remaining in the game.
Robert Smith finding out why they hire offensive tackles to block defensive ends in that play.
He did not do much against Sean Jones, did he? And Moon got flung down on him. So it is going to be a second down at about 7, Minnesota, at the 36-yard line. Warren Moon with a single running back and 3 wide receivers on this play. Here's Moon on the right, and a handoff to Robert Smith. No, that's Amp Lee. I beg your pardon again, and he dives across the 40 to about the 41 for a gain of a couple of yards on the play. It'll be third down, Minnesota, and again, this gives you a golden opportunity to stop them, but Warren Moon has kept the ball moving. What stopped Minnesota in the second half is an interception and a fumble by Moon. Those are big plays.
I think on the interception, too, Moon was trying to force the ball in a bad place, Jim.
Here we go, third down at about 5 for Minnesota. Huge play. Split the 2 running backs behind Warren Moon from the 40-yard line. Moon waiting. Moon goes straight back in the pocket. He's got some time. Fires to the outside. It is caught. And the tag catch is by Chris Carter, who manhandled the defender to catch the ball. Carter really physical on Craig Newsom, but he has a first down at midfield.
I tell you, Carter is known for exactly that, Jim. And he jumped up, but he got the ball and got a first down, and that's probably the biggest first down of the game for the Vikings.
I'd love to see the contact. Here we're going to get a look at the contact on the side. He and Newsom. Now watch the contact. See, watch him. He gets the contact, but he goes and catches the ball. The ball is at midfield.
I think he just uses his size advantage on that thing.
I think I'll rate that even.
First down. Here's Warren Moon on the ride and the handoff, and Smith around the corner against the grain, spins for 5. Good run by Robert Smith down to the Packer 45. 5.5 minutes to go, and I think what Max said is you can't afford to give them a touchdown because the Packers still haven't moved the football. You're not sure they could come back and move the ball downfield.
Yeah, that would be of course, they haven't had to. If they had to, who knows? Maybe they would.
Today's game brought to you by Mills Fleet Farm and Weber. All your outdoor grills and accessories are at unbeatable prices at Mills Fleet Farm.
Got to do a better job on first down. 2nd and 5 is not what you want to defend.
Second down, Carter goes to the right against Craig Newsom. What a battle that's been all day long. Evans blocking to the right. Moon with a short slant pattern to Jake Reed. First down at the Packer 37-yard line. Jake Reed, quick slant pattern. And Warren Moon has been terrific on that play. 24 out of 41 for Moon today. 273 in passing yardage.
You get in a 2nd and 5 situation, then you got to play both the run and the pass real honest, and it's hard to do.
That's right, because that linebacker on the short side who would normally help there was rushing was playing the run, and he was wide open, but he got hurt.
Minnesota on the move at the Packer 37-yard line. First down, the Vikings. In motion goes Evans to the outside. Here is Warren Moon, the ride and the handoff to Smith. To a hole, to the 30, gone. Smith for the touchdown for Minnesota. Off the right tackle, Robert Smith, and Minnesota takes the lead.
Santana Dotson took an inside charge. John Jurek was able to pin him inside, opened up a large gap for Robert Smith.
Well, what can I say when you got a hole like that and a guy like Smith to run it? Nothing left but end zone there.
Minnesota takes the lead, 24-21 on the Packers, with 4:13 remaining, and we're going to find out whether the Packers can move the ball or not.
You're right about that, Jim. Now is the hour.
That was a big drive by Minnesota. I think it was 80 yards.
Puts her helmet back on.
All right, here's the try for extra point by the Minnesota Vikings. The ball is down, and the kick is on the way. The kick is good, 24-21. Back after this from your local station. It's the Packer Radio Network.
You deserve quality and value. MSI Insurance delivers. When it comes to quality insurance protection for your auto, home, and life.
Remaining, the interesting thing about this, one of these teams came in with a high-powered offense today, and it's been displayed, but it belongs to Minnesota.
Yes, it does.
They really have been strong offensively. Our ball game brought to you by Budweiser, Beechwood H. Budweiser, the gold medal-winning American premium lager at the 1995 Great American Beer Festival. This Bud for you. Well, strap them up, and here we go.
Well,
24-21.
This will tell a lot about the Packer offense right here.
Now it's the Packers' turn to snatch victory from the jaws of defeat. The Vikings have done it enough times.
They have done that, haven't they? Here is the kickoff that is coming from Mitch Berger. This is a line drive that's returnable to Don Beatty at the 7. Up the sidelines to the 10. To the 20. Through a hole to the 30 and out to the 35. Good return by Don Beatty to put the Packers in position to start their drive. They need a field goal to tie and a touchdown to take the lead. They have 4 minutes, 4 seconds to go, and they have 3 timeouts. So if you got any words of advice to send down, now is the time to do it.
Well, here's my advice. Get Kenny Rutgers well, or we're going to have a dead quarterback.
80 yards in 8 plays for Minnesota on its last drive to take the lead, and a great off-tackle smash by Robert Smith, whom the Packers had held in check most of the day, and now Smith has 79 yards and 24 carries. They just kept going back to it. First down at the 35, the Packers. Out of the backfield goes Brooks. Here's Brett Favre. Nobody open. Brett Favre fumbles. Picked off by Minnesota. Minnesota gets the ball at the 27-yard line. Well, Brett, whether he just couldn't find anybody or failed to pull the trigger, didn't get rid of the ball. He got hit, and Derek Alexander takes over at the 27-yard line for Minnesota.
I'll tell you, a very aggressive defense by the Vikings today, Jim. Of course, Brett's got to take better care of that football. 2 or 3 times today, he's running around with that ball in one hand. You got to take care of the football, but that's a great break for the Vikings.
You know what? He really seems confused by the reads, Larry, that he can't find somebody quickly off the pattern.
The way Minnesota's been playing, they probably had it covered, and I'm going to throw up.
Look at this. Warren Moon is not coming back in. Brad Johnson will come in for Minnesota at the 28-yard line. Brad Johnson with 3:59 to go. Their backup quarterback. He won 2 games for them. He is a 5th-year player out of Florida State, and we'll see what happens.
Their backup quarterback with a quarterback rating of over 100.
First down at the 28 for the Minnesota Vikings. They're going to give it to Robert Smith. Smith tries to get to the outside. He gets a couple of yards to about the 26-yard line before he is tripped up. They want to run as much clock as possible, and if they take a field goal, then you have to score a touchdown to beat them. But if they get a touchdown, you're just dead in the water.
Yeah, it appears they're going to be very conservative, Jim, and try to either get a field goal to where a touchdown would even tie. Wouldn't win for the Packers unless they went for 2, of course. But
I hope they don't gamble, because the Packers are getting Roy Butler right up into that line of scrimmage to play the run. I mean, they're sitting ducks for a little play action.
Second down, 8 yards to go, Minnesota. The ball resting at the 26-yard line. Jordan goes in motion to the right. Here's Johnson on the handoff again, and they smother the running back Smith at about the 26-yard line. 3:13 remaining in the ball game. This season, every Packer score is one for the Mac Fund. Packer Radio Network and participating sponsors have teamed up to continue to fight against childhood cancer with scoring for Mac. You know, one of the things I think is most disappointing for me today is the Packers have made such marvelous adjustments all year long when they have been stopped in their offense and come right back. Today, they've been unable to do that.
They have been defeated at the line of scrimmage by the Viking defense. They really have.
Max, I couldn't agree with you more.
Third down, Minnesota.
And for that reason, never got a rhythm.
Here's Johnson back to throw. Goes to the sideline. Incomplete. Intended for Ishmael. And out of bounds. Incomplete, and they'll have to try the field goal kick. Well, they stopped him on 3 plays. They also stopped then, gained some time by the fact it was an incomplete pass on 3rd down. So that's an interesting play by Minnesota right there. But they were going for a touchdown.
Well, I think the Packers have all their timeouts this half, don't they?
44-yard field goal. Yes, they do. They have 3 remaining. 44-yard field goal by Minnesota.
The only one he's missed this year is from 43.
All right, waiting for the snap. How about blocking this thing? Ball is down. The kick is on the way. Almost got there. The kick is long enough, and the kick is good. Minnesota takes a lead of 27-21. And the Packers now are going to have to get busy and come back. I think we said that just a few minutes ago. But they get the field goal by Sisson. And it comes with 2:31 remaining. That is a 44, maybe a 45-yarder for Minnesota. Wow. It is an interesting ball game. And again, the Packers have to answer, or they'll have a long week of trying to find the answer. Well, when this game is over, you can still see the best 2-minute drill in town. Simply pull into your local McDonald's drive-thru and call the signal. In no time flat, you can have a delicious Big Mac or a mouth-watering quarter pounder with cheese. Well, what do you got in the playbook left?
Well, I don't know, but number one, you've got to have protection or they're going nowhere. Well, you do have plenty of time, and you got 3 timeouts. It's not a panic situation.
But it's a first down situation where you have to get one.
Yeah, you have to do it this drive, I think. You're not going to get 2 chances now. You only get this drive, and that's it.
Carolina leads San Francisco 23-7. A couple of unbeaten teams will remain, and a couple will fall here in these 2 games.
Are you saying misery enjoys company?
I guess so. I guess I'm saying it can happen. Here's the kickoff. But this is Minnesota, and you'll always worry about it. It goes to Beebe at the 3. Beebe to the 5, to the 10, to the 15, to the 20. Runs over a man to about the 23. And it'll be now a flag thrown on the play. A late flag thrown on the play here, holding against the Packers. My goodness, that play occurred a good 5-6 seconds after the ball had been down.
Oh, you don't want those kind of mistakes. And as you say, when it comes that late, you kind of wonder. But still, you can't make those kind of mistakes at this stage of the game.
Well, that just makes it that much harder. 2:22 remaining. It will go back to about the 13-yard line. Let's listen.
During the return, holding by the receiving team, number 51, 10-yard penalty, first down.
That's Brian Williams, they say, who committed the penalty for the Packers.
I think Mike will be giving a few lectures about maintaining your poise this week, whatever, regardless of the outcome of this.
Well, I think it's still only 1 first down in the second half.
It's been very one-sided, and the defensive line of the Vikings have really manhandled this offensive line of the Packers.
All right, the Packers down by 6, have the ball at the 13-yard line with a first down and a lot of crowd noise. Man in motion to the near side is Robert Brooks. Favre back to throw. Favre stepping up again, not finding anybody, goes down at the 15-yard line. He's just not getting any chance to throw. He can't find anybody upfield.
Well, a number of people got beat, but Adam Timmerman just let Ezra Tuaolo walk him right back to the quarterback.
So Brett has a second down. The clock starts to run, and he may let it go to 2 minutes. We'll get the break here. 2 minutes remaining in the ball game, and the Packers in deep trouble. We'll be back after this on the Packer Radio Network.
You might not think it's the end of the year, but it is at your Chrysler dealer. It's the National Chrysler Clearance. All 96 models have to go. Choose from all these award-winning Chryslers. Get 1,000 cash back on a sporty Chrysler Cirrus, or get up to 1,500 cash back on a stylish Chrysler Concorde, or get 3,000 cash back on a luxurious Chrysler LHS during the once-a-year National Chrysler Clearance.
Station identification is the Packer Radio Network.
For Almena, Birchwood, and all of Wisconsin's Great Northwest, this is WJMC-FM, Rice Lake, Bloomer.
Second down, 13 to go for the Packers. All the way back at the 9-yard line. No time for Brett Favre to throw the ball. But Max, he's going to have to release it to somebody. Yeah, he's looking and looking, and he can't find anybody.
He's been trying to step up, Jim, and when he has, it just hasn't had the blocking. But you're right. He's got to see somebody and let it go. We can't. He's got no protection. He's got to let it go.
All right, second down and 13 for the Packers. Back at the 9-yard line for Green Bay. Here is Brett Favre waiting for the snap of the ball. Brett goes straight back in the pocket. Short drop. Comes over the middle. It's caught to about the 16 for a gain of about 7 yards. Now a third down play coming with the clock running at 1:52, and the 2-minute offense is in for the Packers. Brett Favre calling the play as he comes to the line of scrimmage. Favre back to throw. Pumps. Look. Now sliding to the side. Got a man open, and he missed it. Oh, had he thrown it to the outside, Max, Antonio Freeman could have gone outside. He threw it inside, and he couldn't get to it.
Favre was running the wrong way to throw that pass, Jim. It would have taken a miracle to get that ball on target, but a good thought.
I think what he really wanted on that pump fake was Don Beebe to the far side of the field. Beebe stumbled on his pass route, and that's why Brett was just grasping at anything when he threw it to Antonio.
Now it is 4th down for the Packers.
You're right. Beebe was a primary. He was going to do like an out and up or a hook and go, and he wasn't there, so he just went to a secondary guy and couldn't quite get it.
Well, they used a timeout here, so they have 2 remaining, and obviously you use it because if you don't get a first down play, the game is over for the Minnesota Vikings. It's 27-21, Minnesota leading, and as Larry and I were talking about during the timeout, Larry, Minnesota has just simply outplayed the Packers. It's fortunate that the Packers even have a chance to win.
Yes, it is. And this time, I will not, if the Packers wind up losing this one, I won't walk away thinking it was a screwball play that did it. I would think the Minnesota Vikings came out this second half and controlled the tempo, controlled the game.
Minnesota has been a dominant team in the second half. 4th down, the game riding on one play right here for Green Bay. Brett Favre, the MVP, needs to make it work. Back he goes to throw. Back he goes to fire, and Chimura cannot hold it. It's incomplete. It'll be Minnesota's ball. He tried to throw it to Chimura. Nobody got open on the play.
And he was short. If he catches it, he was still short of a first down, so it just didn't work.
Give the Viking defense credit. They have been in our receivers' hair all day long.
1:33 to go. Minnesota will lead the Central Division with a 4-0 mark. And it brings a lot of people back into it for the Packers.
You're not kidding there.
Well, if you depend on your car to perform, depend on 76 gasoline to keep it a performance car.
I don't think anybody thought the Packers were going to go undefeated, but they thought, obviously, they were going to get by today.
Well, I'll tell you what, he was trying to get to a spot that was occupied by a defender. All right, Minnesota's just going to kneel down on the ball. They've got 1:33 to go, and the field goal will win a game for them, so they're going to kneel down on it twice. There's one kneel down, and the Packers should take an immediate timeout, and they do. We'll take a 30-second break back after this on the Packer Radio Network.
WCN. You deserve quality and value. MSI Insurance delivers.
Express Airlines, best care in the air, the official airline of the Green Bay Packer Radio Network. Well, it's back to the drawing board for the Packers now. They got one timeout left.
And for Mike Holmgren, the demon lives on.
Yeah, it does. When will it go away?
You look at the offense that the Packers had, and you see what? This is the lowest offensive amount of yardage they've had in a long time.
1 first down in the second half of the ball game. Here's the quarterback, Brad Johnson, waiting. And they're going to run a play this time, and they run it off to Smith, who tries to find the corner. And he's going to be taken down at about the 18-yard line. And do they take a timeout? Let's see. Clock is at 1:20, and they do stop it now, finally, at 1:18.
The Vikings figured out that they can't run the clock out, Jim, and they don't want to kick a field. How could you lose this game, kick a field goal, get it blocked, somebody pick it up? They don't want to kick a field goal.
Well, it's all the timeouts gone now for the Packers, and a third down for Minnesota, and about 11 yards to go. You got to strip the ball, do something if you are to have any kind of a chance. We had a lot of chances in this ball game if your offense is functioning, because you had a first down at the 45 of Minnesota near the end of the first half. You had a first down at the 37 on the Roy Butler cause of the fumble, and you had an opportunity to drive it upfield, and you really never moved out of the shadow of your goalpost.
In the way of turnovers, the Packers played right into the Vikings' strength. Let them take advantage of that. But the surprising thing, the Viking offense against the second-ranked defense in the league has been able to control the tempo this second half.
Well, True Value is proud to sponsor the True Value NFL Man of the Year Award, honoring players who have made a difference both on and off the field. True Value, the official hardware store of the NFL. All right, third down for Minnesota with 1:18 remaining, and the Packers in no timeout. So they can't run it out. They have to do something with the ball. They'll probably run it on a fourth down play unless they do something here with it. Here's a man in motion. That's Greg DeLong, the tight end to the right. And the handoff goes up the middle to Robert Smith, and he is going to be stopped at about the 15. And that's with a minute 12. They can run off 40 seconds from there. Well, wait a minute. They just now started it, so they can run off a minute 8, so they'd have 28 seconds for the last play of this quarter. That clock didn't stop because the officials, they mark the ball, and then you don't even mark it. When the guy has gone down and they blow the whistle, then you're supposed to start the 40-second clock. And Minnesota, in all likelihood, will take a penalty here on this play. They're just going to let it run down. It has 14 seconds to run down. It'll be with about 30 seconds left in the ballgame. This half of Green Bay Packer football brought to you by your local Jeep and Eagle, Chrysler and Plymouth dealers, and the new Dodge. I'm not sure whether they want to bring you I'm not sure there was a player of the game. Was there for Green Bay in this contest? Don Beebe.
Yeah, maybe so.
Yeah, Beebe is a pretty good choice.
He had some good runbacks on kickoffs. He got that long pass. I'll tell you, zero offense for the Packers today.
So the player of the game is Don Beebe, brought to you by your local Jeep and Eagle, Chrysler and Plymouth dealers, and the new Dodge. And now we go out to Seattle next week with some fire in the eyes of the Seahawks, knowing that this is not an invincible ball club the Packers are bringing out there.
I guarantee you they'll look at this film and say, guys, gear it up on defense. This pass protection's a little weak here with the Packers. I'm not sure that's true. I just think the Packers were flat today. It wasn't only Gary Brown. They weren't anybody else blocking too good today.
They're going to kick a winning field goal, or attempt to do so, a 34-yarder.
I would say after they watch this film with the coach's comments, there'll be some fire in the Packers next week.
Here is the field goal. This puts it out of reach if they kick the field goal.
Need to block it.
And the Packers are offside. The kick is up, and the kick is good.
They got to kick it over, though.
Now, well, did they blow the whistle or not? If they didn't blow the whistle, the play goes through. And it'll be a field goal that will count. The field goal will count, and it's 30-21 in favor of Minnesota. And that certainly ended the ball game with 28 seconds to go. That one is 34 yards. This is really, it's very difficult, I think, for all of us to explain how the Packers fail to have an offensive game here today in this contest.
I'll tell you, Brett Favre never had a chance today, Jim. Again, he himself may have been a little off rhythm, but I think I credit the Vikings. They just were all over him.
Well, I don't think it's hard to explain at all. We didn't block anybody.
Well,
we didn't execute. We didn't block.
Well, here's what's interesting, too. One of the most prolific passers in the league threw it 23 times today. He was sacked 6 times.
Well, on the flip side of the coin, the Vikings controlled the ball the second half. Brett Favre didn't get a lot of reps with the offense out there.
Well, we've been in this position before here in Minnesota.
Yeah.
Walking out with long faces.
5th straight time.
So it will be kicked off by Mitch Berger. It doesn't mean a whole lot at this stage with 28 seconds remaining. They'll just go into a prevent and let you throw it as long as you want to and knock it down. Try to anyway. And Brett Favre and the Green Bay Packers, it looked as if the big plays, 2 big plays by the Packers, might very well turn the tide on the day. But Minnesota, after trailing 24-21, got a couple of touchdowns and a couple of field goals. This one's into the end zone, and Don Beebe lets it go out. Packers took the lead in the ball game at 21-17 with 3:58 to go in the third. Then Minnesota drove 80 yards in 8 plays to score with 4:13 remaining. And then they added 2 field goals after that. That 80-yard drive, which ended in a 37-yard run by Robert Spitz, was, of course, the drive of the game by Minnesota. Because they were trailing and got the ball with about, 7.5 minutes to go in the game. And they were down by 4, and the Packers couldn't stop them.
Well, I wonder if they got enough time. If they score on this play, take them 80 yards to run, that's 10 seconds. They got to hurry.
Yeah, it would have to be a real quick run, wouldn't it? 3 wide receivers to the right. For Brett, he throws it over the middle to Antonio Freeman, trying to see if he could go all the way. He couldn't. He got a first down to the 31. The clock is running with 21 seconds remaining. They were just looking for one man to make a great individual play.
You know, I didn't think the Vikings were good enough to do this, to be honest.
Well, I'm changing my plan about them. That ball bounces out to Robert Brooks with 10 seconds remaining. 5th second down and 10 seconds to go in the game. I didn't either, Larry. I think that's a good point. I think all of us came in here and said if Minnesota wins, it will be by some fluke reason. But you walk out of here saying they did not win by a fluke reason.
There's something to this 1-12 record on artificial turf.
All right, here's Brett again. This is a quick slant pattern. He threw that one behind Robert Brooks by about 4 feet.
Yeah, it looks like...
Go ahead and just unair it and get it over
An ugly
with.
way to end an ugly game.
So it'll be a third down for the Packers at the 31-yard line. You can pad your stats if you want to here by throwing one for about 50 yards, but that's all it will do is pad the stats. Moon was 24 out of 41, and he just wore out there in the last couple of series. Here is Brett Favre waiting for the snap. Favre on a quick pattern to Antonio Freeman again.
Lateral.
Get to the outside, gets drilled, and that'll be the end of the ball game. He was drilled, and the contest ends with the wind going to the Minnesota Vikings. Robert Griffith is the man who made the last tackle. The game is over. Back in a minute after this from your local station on the Packer Radio.
Wisconsin and Minnesota on the border. But it was still Viking fans that were loving Warren Moon to Kadri Ismail. But no, it's deflected into the hands of Eugene Robinson from
Hartford, Connecticut.
He returns it 29 yards. The former Seahawk now making a mark in Green Bay. The Packers say this is the year we're forcing the turnovers, Warren. Brett Favre to Robert Brooks. It's a touchdown. And Brooks says, you know what, we're close to Lambeau. Let me go in the stands and see if I can find a Packer fan. But watch this. Get out of here, say the Viking fans. Whoa. Whoa. 7-0 the Pack. Next possession. Favre and Mike Holmgren looking for Robert Brooks. Robert Griffith off the hands, but look at the hustle of Brooks. Griffith could go all the way. Doink! It's out of the end zone. It's a touchback. What hustle by Robert Brooks.
What a great job of Brooks knocking this ball out and changing possession of this ball. Touchback Packers.
So the Packers retain possession 2 plays later. Antonio Freeman, but it's Orlando Thomas, strips him of the ball, and he recovers. The fight, the Packer turnover bug continues, and the Vikings capitalize. Moon, plenty of time. He still throws the prettiest pass in football. Jake Reed, touchdown, tied at 7. Second quarter, Viking fans roaring. Favre under pressure from John Randall and Derek Alexander. It would be a theme. It's a fumble, and a man named Brady, Jeff Brady, recovers the ball. 3 plays later, the Packers have pushed them all the way back to the 20. But instead of continuing with the good D, they allow the missile. Warren Moon to Kadri Ismail, 20-yard touchdown. First time the Packers have trailed all year. Carter, what does he do? He just spikes touchdowns. Kadri caught it, 14-7, and the Vikings. Packers respond, down 17-7 in the third. Favre to Don Beebe. Watch the movie makes on number 43, Orlando Thomas, and then beep, 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 beep. They make carry a 1. The former Bill into the end zone. Touchdown. The Packers, trail it 17-14. Then, Packers defense making the big play. Moon looking for Amp Lee. But George Kuntz steps in front. What speed for a middle linebacker. He could go all the way. He tiptoes down the sideline, did not step out. 21-17 the Pack. There's my name. There's the ball. Reggie White, though, would go to the sidelines, and the Vikings and Dennis Green took advantage. Immediately, oh, Reggie's not there? Let's run there. And Robert Smith runs that direction.
Yeah, Robert Smith, great balance, and what a great call right where Reggie should have been.
24-21 Vikings. Late fourth. More Viking defense. John Randall, boy, is he giving this team fits. Hits him. Derek Alexander recovers. Favre harassed. The Vikes add a field goal. And Minnesota remains 5 for 5 against Mike Holmgren.
I mean, I got Santana and Reggie and Sean, you know, they leave it up to me to be the first one to try to get my hands on the running back, and then, I mean, I just do my job.
Guys are able to get away with a lot more dirty stuff on you on the inside, though, aren't they?
Oh, yeah, I mean, on the inside, there's a lot of holding. Like yesterday, the guys were holding us, and we would try to get off, and they'll try to pull us to the ground so we can't shut off to make the tackle.
I know you can't get too upset and start anything. You might get a penalty, but how upsetting... He gave you one of those looks, coach. How upsetting is it when you're in there in the trenches and guys are pulling that stuff on you? How hard is it to keep your cool?
It's real hard. I mean, you try to go to the ref and say something, but coach don't like us talking to the referee. So, we just got to bear with it.
Coach, your relationship with Gilbert, could you tell me a little bit about it?
Well, it's really good. I mean, he's one of my favorite players, and but obviously there have been moments where I have to get on him just a little bit, and but he is having a great year for us, and that's very true. You know, he's kind of the unsung guy. You talk about Reggie, and you talk about Sean. Everyone in the world knows about that. Santana was a great acquisition for us to give us inside pass rush, but none of those guys could do what they do if we didn't have this man right here on the team. Really, he's a big guy, and he takes up a lot of room in there. And he thinks I don't like him, but I like him.
Let's roll a little tape, Gilbert, because you have been really putting some guys on their keister here. But you know, the move that I like the most is the little grave digger afterwards. How did you come up with that?
I don't know, it's like just like that dance I did last week that Coach didn't like. It just popped in my head, so I just go on and do it.
Yeah, what came over you with that dance anyway?
I don't know, I was trying to get under Coach's skin. So
Gilbert, you know, the amazing thing is I look in your bio, and, you know, of course you were on the track team in high school. I'd assume that you threw the shot, but you ran the 100 and 200-meter dash. How'd that come about, and how'd you do?
Oh, I did it just to stay in shape, but I did one time.
You won one of the 100? Mm-hmm. Yeah, amazing. What was that field like? A bunch of big guys?
No, I was a couple of small guys in there, too.
Gilbert, we got to roll another videotape. I know the coach has been anxious to see this. This is a little NFL film spot you did with Robert Brooks on doing his song, and you and Aaron Taylor kind of dancing in there. Look at those moves. Now, how'd this come about?
Well, I don't know. Robert came up to us and told us, could we do a little thing for us? And they told us to act silly, so that's what we do best, act silly.
Well, you were looking kind of serious in there. You were getting into it.
Yeah, we do a little.
Okay, now I've got to put you on the spot. What do you think of Robert Brooks and his music?
I think he's real good. I mean, as far as what's out there today, I think he's one of the top of the line.
Now, there's been some talk this last few weeks about a certain hamburger that you get from Burger King. Can you tell me how the Gilbert burger came about, what it is exactly?
Well, I don't eat it all the time. But when I do, I usually bring it in on Mondays, and it's a double Whopper with extra everything. And we cut it in half, and I bring it in for the guys every Monday.
Well, who goes after this Gilbert burger?
Well, since everybody, Reggie, Sean, Gabe, there's a lot of them.
Now, Gilbert, of course, he's a jack of all trades. He's quick inside, but let's take a look at him playing some basketball. This guy can throw a mean three-pointer, too. Boom, a little bit off, but you get it back. Not bad. Yes, it's good. Were you a basketball player, too, in high school?
No. They picked Jerome Bettis over me to play basketball.
Coach, obviously this guy's important in what is happening in the defense, but he is a free agent next year. I suppose he's one of the guys you just don't want to like get away from this team.
No, really, and seriously, I believe they're working on something right now. But you know, anytime he's having a year, he's having a great year, and he's very valuable to us. And I want him to stay, and I hope he wants to stay. But it's a business decision, and he has to do what he thinks is right for himself and his family. And the Packers are going to do everything we can to keep him here.
You like what's happening here, don't you?
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
All right. Hey. Thanks a lot, Jim Irwin, for joining us. We appreciate continued success. When we come back, we'll see how some of the Packers spend their time off. That's next on the Mike Holmgren Show.